Good morning. Today is Tuesday, July 14th. It is 9 a.m. and we will call this meeting to order. We will begin with our invocation by Ted Stackpole, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by J.R. Newbold. Please silence your phone. Stand if you're able to do so.
Bow your heads with me, please. Heavenly Father, we recognize today you are the creator of all worlds and that you are the one who established this government. And today, in this moment, we recognize our own weaknesses. And we understand, God, a need for your wisdom. And I just ask today that everything that is said and done in this place will be done for your glory and for the benefit of the 74,000 residents that live in this beautiful Putnam County. Lord, we thank you for your goodness, your blessings to us. And today we say to you be all glory, honor, and power. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, moving into the approval of the minutes.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the minutes stated in our packet for the regular meeting June 9th, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any concerns or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, I'm going to take a point of privilege, and before we move into the Port Authority meeting, I'm going to ask for Ms. Parker to come forward to do the Employee of the Month presentations.
Right.
Bless you.
God bless you.
Allergies.
I
At
know.
least I didn't sneeze in your direction, right?
Morning.
Good morning.
I have two Employee of the Months that we are recognizing today. The first one is Stephen Albers. He works for Public Works, and JT is going to say a few things about him, but you're awarded the Employee of the Month. Thank you.
Stephen's a great guy to work with. Definitely one of the individuals you want representing you and the county. Upstanding citizen, does everything in an honest day's work. He has an uncanny ability to see something on the road that needs fixed, and one of you may call me about it, and then I'll call him, and he's already got it fixed. So I appreciate that, helping all of us look good in Public Works. He did not want to be here today. He does not like this kind of stuff. He'd rather be on the road. So I appreciate that as well, Stephen. So thank you very much for all the work that you do for the county.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We
You tell
appreciate
me.
you. You don't want to?
You don't want to speak?
Oh, he does want a picture. Okay.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah, you get to be in the middle. Can we could, sorry, JR. No, you're good. All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. And again. One more.
Next, we're going to recognize the Employee of the Month for April, and that would be Brittany Long. If she and any staff members want to come up. Brittany works for Animal Control, so as you see, she's got a number of staff members who are in support of this.
We couldn't bring them today. Gator wouldn't approve it. I'm not as wonderful as JT, so I wrote something last night about Brittany. Brittany has been a dedicated, valued, and trusted member of Putnam County Animal Services for nearly 5 years. That alone should get a hand raise, a clap from everybody. Yes. Contributing across multiple roles, including animal control officer, kennel technician, dispatcher, and currently dispatch supervisor. Her diverse experience provides her with comprehensive understanding of the entire animal process. She leads our social media efforts, creating engaging Dog of the Day features and adoption posts that successfully connect shelter pets with adoptive families. She also coordinates posts for found and lost animals, helping reunite pets with their owners and reducing the amount of time animals spend in our shelter. Additionally, Brittany has played a key role in establishing and maintaining our partnership with the University of Florida Veterinary Community Outreach Program. Through her coordination, this collaboration ensures timely veterinary care, helping animals become healthy, adoption-ready, and placed into permanent homes more efficiently. Brittany's dedication, creativity, and commitment to animal welfare have made a significant impact on our department and the community, making her highly deserving of this Employee of the Month recognition. Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you, Brittany. Congratulations. Y'all want to come up for a picture? Oh.
Time for a picture.
All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. And again. One more. Yay, Brittany!
All right, with that, we will recess our Board of County Commission meeting and convene our Port Authority meeting. Approval of the minutes.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the Port Authority meeting June 9th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, moving into public comment on Port Authority items. Is there any public comment on Port Authority items? We will have an opportunity later to discuss consent agenda items and miscellaneous items. All right, seeing no public comment. We have lease extension. I believe, Mr. Commander, you have a little bit of an update on that?
Yes, Madam Chair. So for the commission's benefit, I was contacted by legal counsel for the tenant on items 3C and 3D and was asked if we could withdraw those from today's agenda and bring them back at the next agenda, just so we can have some additional discussion.
All right. I welcome that discussion, so no problem. Does anybody have an issue with that?
No.
All right, we'll withdraw that item. All right, is there any just general discussion on Port Authority items? All right, seeing none, we will close the Port Authority and reconvene the BOCC. Heart of Putnam has asked to move their item to the next meeting in July. So that brings up Nancy Russo with SMA Healthcare. And while she's making her way up, what we are doing, commissioners, just so you'll know and make sure that the public understands, we're asking for the nonprofits and the providers that receive money from the county to come before us and explain where the county dollars are going, how they're spending them, and what the benefit is. As we go through a very tough year in our budget cycle, we just want to know where everything's going. So for full transparency and also, of course, for accountability. And then I do want to say we will not be making any decisions today on these budget items, particularly as we go through our budget, we will be. But we want our commission and our constituency to hear about it. So welcome.
Well, thank you so very much for having us. We're grateful to be here and for the audience with you this morning. For the record, my name is Salvatore Gentoli. Please call me Tori. And we're with SMA Healthcare. I've got Nancy Russo with me, and we're at 330 K. Larkin Drive. So what we've prepared for you is a summary of all of our services here in Putnam County over the past fiscal year. To be completely transparent, this data is missing about the last week of our fiscal year. That was because of the deadline to submit the information. We are putting together our annual impact report. That should be done in about, I'd say about 2 months or so, probably by the end of August, and that's going to have the full picture. We don't think it's going to vary much from this at all. So what you can see, the very first page, we've got the money that Putnam County gives us directly and through property in kind. That is, of course, the two buildings over at 330K Larkin Drive, for a total of $390,000 per fiscal year. And then down below, we have the three primary services that Putnam County's dollars go directly to. That's our drug court program, therapy, and psychiatric services. You can see that we really do rely on your money and your property in kind. We would not be able to function here in Putnam County without the contributions that the county makes. We do, if you look at the revenue amounts, the total revenue amounts, and the total expenses, we do run in the red here in Putnam County. And that underscores how important your contribution is to us. We're able to do that because as a nonprofit, we draw money from our entire 6-county area, and we use that money to spread it out to make sure that we can deliver exceptional services regardless of the area, regardless of the number of citizens served, regardless of the tax base and what the counties are able to offer. So we're not going to let any of that get in the way of us offering exceptional services. And I hope that this first page here really underscores we could not do this without the county's support. On the second page, we have a breakdown of all of the other services that we provide here in Putnam and the funding sources for those. On the very bottom of this page, you've got the number of Putnam County citizens that were served outside the county last fiscal year. So we had a total of 2,046 Putnam citizens served in county. A total of 142 that we served outside of the county, for a total of 2,188 Putnam County citizens served. So we're very proud of that number, and again, could not do that without your support. The third page is a summary of all of the grants that we've been able to secure, again with your assistance, over the years. So this goes all the way back to 2018 with the Criminal Adjustment Reinvestment Grants, the Opioid Response Planning Grant, MAT implementation, so on and so forth, for a total of over $10 million secured through grants and funding that we've brought into the county as well. So pretty quick summary there, and we'll just open it up to questions if y'all have any questions for us.
All right, I guess I'll start. You mentioned forensic case management. 307, one citizen served, 372 number services provided. What does that mean?
So Nancy can kind of give you an idea of all the different services that go into that.
Okay.
We have a case manager specifically for forensic case manager. It's part-time for our community because there's not a great need. But what they do is they assist with the state hospital, any forensic cases in the state hospital. So every time they make contact with that person, whether it be directly or collateral, those counts as services for that person. So that's why that number over the years seems escalated, but all of those services are provided throughout that year for the one person that we have been able to serve.
All right, I think I understand that. So another question on the active grants. I noticed you mentioned the neonatal grant. Is that in Putnam County, or is that no longer in Putnam County?
It will be ending at the end of August. We have attempted to secure another grant to at least continue primary care and to implement a pharmacy. We are waiting to be notified of the award, which would probably be mid-August to start September 1st. So that would allow us without a break. If we do not get that grant, we would have to close our primary care services.
In Putnam?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you are operating in Putnam through the end of August for this program?
Yes.
Okay. And what is a youth and family tree grant? I don't know what that is.
That was funded to us through SAMHSA, and that allows for counselors to go out into the community and meet with the people where they are, and we serve ages 12 to 25 for substance use. We can do some co-occurring, but it was primarily a substance use funded grant.
Okay, so it's not necessarily mental health.
No.
I know they sometimes cross lines, but yeah,
Yes.
okay. And then assisted outpatient therapy is, if you'll just explain that.
Sure. I'm going to let Tori explain that because he's the expert on all things assisted outpatient.
I guess I have been knighted with this knowledge now, so here we go. So assisted outpatient therapy. So, we have individuals that we serve in our crisis programs for inpatient stabilization for psychiatric illnesses. And we strive to make sure those individuals get the care that they need, especially that they're lined up with the aftercare they need to not go back into crisis services. We try to make sure that folks are with us once on an inpatient basis, but because of the nature of many chronic illnesses, just like regular, health chronic illnesses, folks are going to wind up in the hospital more than once. So the individuals that we serve that typically have these severe and persistent mental illnesses, things like schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, bipolar affective disorder, they often come to us under a Baker Act because they're not able to see the need for the care that is going to get them back on track. When they leave, there's nothing to compel them to continue with their aftercare. So within a few weeks, they'll stop taking the medication. They will not follow back up with the appointments that we've scheduled for them or even the care coordination services we put in place. And that revolving door begins to spin. So the assisted outpatient treatment program uses the Baker Act to actually adjudicate those outpatient services. So it's a court order for the person to go to their outpatient treatment. And that really has been a missing piece here in Florida for a very long time. And we're very hopeful that this program, it's just starting up now, over time is going to greatly reduce the recidivism that we see into the acute inpatient psychiatric level of care.
And I don't want to assume this, so I'm going to ask it. These are all services provided in Putnam County, or do they have to leave the county?
Oh, these are all provided here in county, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
for the outpatient portion, yeah.
Yeah, for outpatient. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. So if the individual does, violate that court order and does not go to the outpatient therapy, they would be then transported via the sheriff to the crisis center down in Volusia County.
Okay, and then one other question on when you said residential, women and men's residential 29, children's residential 5. Those are residents of Putnam that are being, because we obviously don't have housing here in Putnam except for the recidivism program that just started.
Yes.
That's where they're being transported to your other location?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So the women's residential is Warm, Women Assisting Recovering Mothers in Bunnell. That program's been around for a very long time. Fantastic program. We've got 75 beds for women, 25 beds for their children up to age 5. We work to reunify women and their children. If the mother has lost their children due to drug charges, we work towards that reunification. We also work to develop job skills and basically get folks the skills they need to get back into the community and work when they graduate. For men, it's DeLand Men's Residential Treatment. That's down on Stone Street in DeLand, and we've got 50
It's where,
beds
I'm
there.
sorry?
I'm sorry, it's on Stone Street in DeLand.
Okay.
And we've got 50 beds there for men. Similar type of program where we work to get folks reintegrated with the community.
Okay, and
And then-
I know Commissioner Harvey, you have a comment, but just real quick, and then the recidivism program that's been created and that we've worked with and had the ribbon cutting for, what is the rate out there as far as occupancy right now?
So right now, we have 2/3 of the beds filled currently. We have 10 of the 15 beds filled. I think all in all, we've probably had 12 folks come in. So a few folks have not been able to make it through and had to go back, and be incarcerated. Out of the folks that have come in, out of those 12, 75% of them are Putnam County citizens. We look forward to being able to track data for you on this. It's kind of early right now. We've only had these 12 folks total, 10 of whom are still with us. So over time, we're going to be able to compile data about the outcomes for that program. But from what Nancy has shared with me, it's going well. Things are starting to kind of hum along when it comes to getting the folks from the jails and into the program. So,
Okay,
yeah.
so one other question, you guys have a kitchen out there? So how is it that they get their food? How does that work?
Currently, we are working with the chef at the Warm program in Bunnell, and they're creating the meals there and transporting them to us. It was, I guess, realized after we had put everything in place that because we don't have enough storage there, the amount of food we would need to purchase to get it at a good rate, we don't have the storage for that. So in the meantime, Warm is going to be cooking our meals. If we get to the point where funding becomes recurring, then we could invest in putting more storage out there to be able to do that.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I just want to thank y'all, SMA, for all the years and the transparency that has taken place back many, many years ago. So my question for you is this. What can we do? Do you need letters of support for these grants that help Putnam County? That's number one question.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I was just talking to Nancy. She just got back from vacation, so I'm getting her caught up. We're working on a new grant. We're constantly applying for grants. There's a new one that we're applying for. It's a mental health awareness training grant. So we would love your support. That basically would allow us to bring all kinds of mental health training to the county, to law enforcement here in the county, to public safety here in the county. And there's going to be kind of a quick turnaround time on this. We have to get the application into SAMHSA by the end of the month, but your support for that grant and the many more that will apply for, I'm pretty sure in short order, would be greatly appreciated, definitely.
All right, thank you. And I can't speak for everybody, but I'm sure that, you know, if you bring it to our administration, we can move that up the ladder pretty easily based on your track record and the work that you've done. The other thing I want to ask you is this. You know, you mentioned the building that we have and that helps you secure grants. But when you sit around at night and you go, I think this program would solve a lot of problems in Putnam County. What would that program be and what would you need to fund that program?
Wow, that's a great question.
I know, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
You got me daydreaming now, which is fine. I think we have to have a vision, right, of what we want to see for the county. And I think this recidivism program, I think it's a wonderful start. I think being able to expand that out would be phenomenal. Nancy, what are your thoughts? You've been here for a bit.
Well, I know our dream with the consortium, which I also lead, has been, you know, to have everything the other counties have as well, like an integrated ISU, integrated stabilization unit, so that, you know, no matter if it's Baker Act or Marchman Act, they can take a bed on that unit and be able to, you know, not have to leave the county for that. Unfortunately, we've been told over time that there's not enough volume to pay for the program. So that's why it hasn't been really that much of a push, but it would definitely, you know, make the services in the county more robust.
So let me follow up on that real quick and then I'll end. I've been noticing more and more, and I'm not sure they're homeless, but they sure look like they're homeless people that roam the streets of West Putnam and the roads, and they have animals with them. And one gentleman just screams at this animal all day long, walking his dog up and down the road. I'm sure he's not mentally right. I'm sure of that. How can we intercept that? And, you know, because I thought about the dog. I thought, poor dog, right? He's getting screamed at. He doesn't even know what he's supposed to be doing, and he's being screamed at. And then you think about the poor man who's locked inside of his head and needs help. Both of them need help. So how can we partner to get that person? We have animal control. That's an easy one right there. But I think we need to be mindful because I see more and more homeless people with pets and things of that nature. Then maybe that's good for them. But the poor pet doesn't have a clue what's going on, you know.
Maybe mobile crisis.
But that's children's home society, but yeah.
I think, you know, mobile crisis definitely can be of great help in situations like this. And I think, honestly, this ties back to mental health awareness training. I've been doing trainings with law enforcement across our 6-county footprint for a very long time, since I started with the company and as our footprint grew and grew and grew. And there is a hesitancy by law enforcement to put somebody under the Baker Act if the individual is not a direct threat to themselves or others. And the way that that term direct threat is interpreted would be that I'm trying to hurt myself or hurt somebody else. What we've seen and what we try to impart to our partners in law enforcement is that that type of psychosis the fact that, as you said, this individual is locked inside his head, and it sounds like it's a pretty dark and scary place, that is a psychiatric emergency, and that does meet the criteria to utilize the Baker Act to get that individual stabilized. So a large part of that is mental health awareness training, I do believe. I do believe if we are able to up our game when it comes to delivering that type of training, that can shift the opinions of the individuals in law enforcement. And when they see somebody in that situation, it goes past the very rudimentary criteria of he doesn't want to kill himself or somebody else, he's not trying to burn anything down, right? And it moves into, this is a psychiatric emergency, and under the Baker Act, I can use that tool to get him into custody, into protective custody, and get that person the help that they need. And I understand, we live in a state that really places a high value on civil liberties. I've spoken to many officers and deputies over the years, and they don't want to infringe on that. And I get that. I totally get that. But, to your point, that person is in some great psychological pain, and he's taking it out on an animal. Right, so we know that he needs help, and that Baker Act is the tool to get that person the help they need and to get that dog out of that situation.
Well, I want to say thank you for all the years and appreciate everything you've done and the transparency. Madam Chair, that ends my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have one other question. When somebody leaves the program, what happens? I mean, is there a follow-up? How does that happen? I know it's a hard question, but.
For residential, they will definitely have follow-ups for that, because we do want to track that recidivism and make sure that they're being successful in everything we've put in place in the program. As far as like outpatient and things like that, we do have them sign when they come into the program. Are they willing to be followed up with? And, some people say no, some people say yes, so we do our best. But
Yeah, life changes, I get it.
yeah.
All right, are there any other questions for the presenter? All right, do y'all have any admin side? All right, thank you. We appreciate the presentation and update.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Meridian Health. What is that? No.
Good morning. Thank
There
you.
you go.
I'm a little bit taller. Let me just pull up this report. Thank you so much for having me this morning. I brought extra copies of our report, but I'm not sure if you already have.
It's in our packet.
Okay, great.
Yep. But you know what, if you want to share it, you're welcome to leave it up there, and then if one of the citizens just on the
Sure.
counter, one of the citizens want to take it, or.
Absolutely. I'd love to do that. I'll do that as I go. Let me just get this going. Okay. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Commissioners, for having me here this morning to present our annual report. I know we're here to talk about the funding request, but also to give you some information on the services we've provided specifically here in Putnam and to Putnam County residents over the past fiscal year. A little bit of background information, although I know I've come before you before. I'm Lauren Cohen, the president and CEO of Meridian, but talking about our longstanding history, serving the community since 1971, providing services across North Central Florida, in serving 14 counties. Also, a little bit of our values and our mission and what we are specifically working to do across our service region, but specifically also here in Putnam County. Our values: hope, empathy, accountability, resilience, and teamwork. There is an overview of all of the services and continuum of care that we provide, offering a comprehensive continuum designed to meet the needs of children, adults, and families. We span education and outreach, integrated treatment, supportive services, so offering everything from inpatient, residential, outpatient, medication-assisted treatment, and various outpatient supportive services. little bit of information on our telehealth services. Over the past year, our telehealth services have increased. So for the past fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026, we provided 454 Putnam County residents a total of 3,456 telehealth services across the year, which was a marked increase from the previous fiscal year. Telehealth permits individuals, as you know, to receive faster services, removing barriers like transportation or the available time for appointments, making engagement more likely. Who we're serving here in Putnam, this is a breakdown of some of the demographics. Understanding the demographics of the individuals we're serving helps us to create tailored services that are culturally informed and aware of the specific needs. The vast majority of those we're serving are the young to middle-aged individuals. What clients are saying, some of the presentation graphics look like they're different. This year, for the first time, we created client feedback kiosks in each of our sites. That allowed us to pull specific client satisfaction for each site. So instead of looking at a global across our 14 counties, what clients are saying, we can now tailor it specifically to each location and each county. So this client satisfaction is not just across all of Meridian, it is specific to our location right up the street on Crill Avenue. And this is what we found for the year. The likelihood that individuals would recommend Meridian is 8.7 out of 10. Overall satisfaction is 4.5 out of 5. So we're looking to continue to bring that up, of course, but for the first time, we can identify pockets and opportunities specific to counties. So we're very excited about that. Across the organization, though, looking at our outcomes, what individuals are reporting is an overall improved functioning and a reduction of symptoms. 79% of adults and 80% of children reported that. As you know, if people aren't feeling like they're getting better, engagement in treatment often declines. So if people are seeing the results and seeing improvement and a reduction of those symptoms, they're more likely to continue to participate in care. The services we provided specifically to Putnam County residents across the last fiscal year, you can see the breakdown here of acute care, which is our inpatient facility. Now that is located in Gainesville, but these are the numbers for the Putnam County residents served out of that location. Outpatient, medication-assisted treatment, and psychiatric care are here in Putnam County. Residential is also our residential facility in Gainesville and Lake City for the kids. Over the last year, we also opened a short-term residential treatment facility. Now it is located in Gainesville, but we do serve individuals from Putnam County there. It is specifically for kids who need a longer-term period of care outside of crisis stabilization. So as you know, crisis stabilization is designed to be very short term and mitigate any immediate crisis for the kids who are a danger to themselves or others. Our short-term residential treatment program is designed to be an extension of that, and kids can stay up to 90 days. There is an education component, so they continue to participate in virtual learning, so we don't see gaps in that education and skill set. And family involvement is a critical component too, families or guardians. That program can also be used as a diversion from a statewide inpatient program. We want to keep kids as close to their homes and communities as possible and continue to involve their families and guardians and loved ones in that care. So we're really excited about that. There's only 2 in the state, and we have opened one of them, so we're looking forward to continue to serving those children. For the information related to our services and payer mix, for the last year, the majority of clients we're seeing are at or below the federal poverty guidelines. Specifically for the Putnam County residents we've served, it's 89.8% are at or below the federal poverty guidelines. Of the services the last year, 56% have been paid for with indigent care funding from the state and the county. 24% were covered by Medicaid. 26% do have some form of insurance, but that insurance only covers a small percentage of the services that they need and receive. So as you know, Meridian is required to generate match funds for our state and federal funding. Our expected fiscal year 27 local match has increased. So as the demand for behavioral health services increases and the population continues to grow, we are requesting a 2% increase to our funding this year, bringing our request to $56,100. This helps also support our expanded services through our central receiving facility, which follows individuals after their episode of care in a crisis center. That is the overall annual report and information for this past year. I'm happy to answer any questions, all questions that you may have.
All right, we'll begin with Commissioner Newbold.
Yeah, it's nice to see the telehealth product being utilized. What do you attribute that dramatic increase in activity there to?
That's a great question. I think people are becoming much more aware of the benefits of telehealth, and we see not only transportation barriers, but we've heard reports specifically in children's services from parents saying that previously they had to leave work, drive to pick up their kids, take them to the appointment, drive to drop off the kids, and return home. So it was pretty much almost a whole day missed. Now I've heard some families that say they participate in telehealth in close libraries or parking lots or areas they can mitigate that time off and outside of losing an entire day. I also think that we've heard as we build up infrastructure and connectivity, those things have improved, so the visits are more successful. We've implemented some new products related to how we're delivering that telehealth, so I think there's less challenges in accessing those appointments and the stability of the connection, which we saw had previously been a barrier. So individuals said, I'm just going to go into the office, but we've heard a marked improvement in that connectivity and accessibility, so I think that's also certainly a contributing factor.
All right, I have a couple of questions. On your programs, you mentioned primary care. Is that only in Gainesville?
We offer primary care in Lake City and Gainesville.
Lake City and Gainesville. And you have seen patients from Putnam for your primary care?
We have. It is very limited, I will say.
Yeah, I would think
that it is, and that's why it's not on the reported number, because the volume is.
Yeah, and I would hope that we could coordinate with Ride Solutions whenever there's somebody who needs to get to a primary care facility. I know there's some options here in Putnam.
Absolutely.
But if for some reason they can't get in, I would hope that we could work that out. And then you also have housing. That's the housing that you referred to in your other slide. But do you take patients from Putnam?
We do.
Other areas?
We do. We have a program specifically that does outreach, and I think I've come before you before and done a presentation or information specifically on that program. It's a grant-funded program. Treatment for individuals experiencing homelessness is the program. We have outreach coordinators and staff who come 2 to 4 times a week out here specifically in Putnam County to do that education, outreach, and connection to connect to various housing programs. So certainly some of those are in Gainesville, but our outreach coordinators help connect here in Putnam and do outreach on the ground, boots on the ground out here. But sometimes there are resources there that we connect individuals.
And I've
so
actually heard good things about that recently. So homeless recovery services, that's part of what you were just referring to. Okay.
Yes.
And then when you talk about service utilization, for the telehealth, is that mental and, is it related to just mental, or is it mental and substance abuse? And is it primary? Because I'm going to tell you, I've had a telehealth conference for primary care too. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? What all is
It's
that?
specifically mental health and substance use.
Okay.
We are working to expand our primary care offerings in the telehealth space. Right now, we do it with patients who are already connected and have been opened in person for a limited amount of things, as you can imagine, the same as you and I do. So those numbers are specifically mental health and substance use treatment, outpatient, and psychiatric services.
All right, and then I'm going to get into your funding requirements a little bit. When you say $2.6 million that the state funds you, I just want to make sure I understand and all our citizens understand, that's for all 6 counties, is that correct?
It's for all, more than 6. It's for all
14.
14 counties, yes.
All 14
Yes.
counties, thank you.
That's not specifically our are.
So there's no specific allocation when the state gives you money that says this many dollars is for Putnam?
No.
It's-
It's done, we break it out by a percentage of, and population size, so there's, a suggested methodology to that, but it is not broken out in that way.
So
from
your
this.
2% increase is based on what number?
The growing number of services and the growing population,
Okay. And so what,
and the increasing cost of care, sorry, that.
Yeah, we have that same
as-
problem here.
Yes, I can imagine.
so the facility on Crill Avenue is where you're located?
Yes.
For Putnam. So is that leased or owned?
That is
Right.
owned.
It's owned by Meridian?
It's owned by
And is
Meridian.
that where your state appropriations went for the substance use facility? Is that where that happened in 2022?
Yeah, yes, well, yes.
Yes,
Like
okay.
back in 2022, I wasn't in my position then, so I had to go back and
Well, I
think.
remember it, I
Yes,
because I was
yes.
at the legislature at the
was.
time, so I just wanted to make sure that's the facility that got.
Yes.
Okay. All right, with that, Commissioner Harvey,
And if I could add, that is also, we were awarded the license for the opioid treatment program.
Yes.
Specifically for Putnam County in that facility. That's where that allocation went to.
very good. All right, thank you. Commissioner Harvey, you recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for being here today and appreciate the presentation. I just want to ask this. Can you break down the demographics a little bit better, maybe the next time?
Sure.
What I'd like to see is West Putnam, Middle Putnam, South Putnam.
Okay.
To see, because logistics are a problem, and I know that we have a commissioner working on transportation issues right now, but I just want to see if you do more telehealth in the south end because people can't travel, west end, maybe you have a different subset of problems. What are those problems and what can we help solve those problems with? Is it transportation? Is it internet? Is it, it could be a host of different things. And I just want to see what those demographics, when your client is from the west end, or, you know what I'm saying? So,
We've got zip code information and some
That'll
of
work.
that. Would that work if we could
Yeah, if you
classify
could just
it?
send something to Julie, and I would say the same thing for SMA, because I think
Yeah,
it's the
I
same.
think so, too.
Okay,
same.
so if, I can run some of that and send it to Ms. Young and see if that kind of provides a little more details on
Yeah.
that breakdown in the areas.
Good,
Okay.
good, thank
I'm just
you.
gonna make some notes.
Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
Thank you, too, for bringing that up. I think that that information may be helpful down the road. Thank you very much.
yes, thank you.
Okay. With that, are there any other questions for Ms. Lauren? All right, thank you for your presentation.
So much.
All right, one more, and then we'll take a brief break. Episcopal Children's Services. Brittany, we've heard from you before. You are welcome to speed through this because we have seen it, and it's printed and in our package, but,
Absolutely. Okay, basically well, first of all, my name's Brittany Spangler with Episcopal Children's Services. Thank you for having me here today. I'll just go through the numbers really quick,
Sure.
quarterly. We had, and this is for fiscal year 25-26 from July 1st through June 30th. So we had an average of 764 Putnam County children served through the School Readiness Program, which 561 of those were based off of the income and work requirements. And the average cost of care for an annual care for the children in Putnam County this year that was served, which is birth through 13, was $5,029.45. We sent out 295 funding notifications to Putnam County children and families, which 170 of those resulted in brand new enrollments. We still have 29 child care programs that are contracted to serve school readiness, with 10 of those being family child care homes. 446 children participated in VPK, with 23 child care programs offering the VPK program, including the school district. And we had 1,767 contacts for information from families seeking information on education, financial assistance, community resources, and so forth. So I did want to ask again this year for your support with $5,000 for your 26-27 budget, which is what we asked last year, and we were graciously approved for. In the PowerPoint, there's also the breakdown of how that money, the requirements, how it's what's required from the state, and then how it is matched. I've also provided in the PowerPoint the different programs we were able to receive match funds for this year for Putnam County specifically. And all of those funds were direct services. None of it was spent for admin costs. I did also include, this time we just recently did a survey to the families receiving services, and there is an option for comments, if anything a family wanted to say. And I just shared 3 different comments that 3 families from Putnam County wrote. One of them was, "This has helped me so much being a single mother. I'm forever grateful for this assistance." The second one is, "It helped me very much, and I wouldn't be able to work without the help of childcare." And the last one is, "I very much appreciate the service they gave me. Without the help for childcare, it would be hard for me to work as a grandparent raising my grandchildren suddenly. I'm so grateful that I get the help needed through them." So this is a direct impact of the investment that you spent.
Yes, ma'am, it is. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know I've got a lot of comments, but it's just really praise. I love the fact that we spend $5,000 to get a $78,333 matching in federal funds. Take that deal any day,
Yes.
all day long. I love buy one, get one free at the grocery store, but this is even better than that.
Right.
And it serves the population that really needs it. So our $5,000 investment brings back a lot. And when you look at the city of Palatka putting in the same $5,000, bringing in the same, speaks a lot of volume of what you can do with a little bit of money.
Exactly.
So thank you very much, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
Of these 29 child care programs, 10 of them are family child care homes. Explain that one to me.
So legally operating child care programs can be anything from a family child care home, which is someone who operates a business of child care in their home. Depending on the size of the house and what they're licensed for, it determines the number of children that they can serve. And also DCF, Department of Children and Families, regulates the ratios. So if they have infants or older children, depending on the mix of ages, how many children they could actually serve. So you don't actually have to have a child care center to be able to offer these assistance and programs. You can do it straight from your home, and we try to recruit people who maybe are grandparents or maybe just had a baby, doesn't want to go back to work, but they could maybe bring a business into their home, those sorts of things. So we do work with the Department of Children and Families, and anytime that there is a brand new program opening in any of our 6 counties, we reach out to those programs directly to make sure they're aware of the 2 different programs that we offer, actually 3 different, with child care resource and referral. And we explain to them the benefits if they were contracted to serve these programs.
So I'll just add a couple comments. I'm very impressed with our return on investment, first of all, and I appreciate those kind of numbers because I think that's of utmost importance that we, when we're spending taxpayers' dollars, that we understand where those taxpayers' dollars are going. When you talk about VPK, 446 children participated. Is that capacity for you guys, or what is that?
Well, it depends on the programs, how many people want to offer it, because every program that we work with are private businesses, school districts included, but it depends on, one, how many classrooms that they want to offer, what they have capacity for in their program, and then because it's very specific to the ages, we kind of see from year to year, like this year, getting ready going into the next year, the number of applications that we've already seen coming through outweighs what we've had this past year. So it's just really kind of matters of how many children actually qualify based on age, and then the programs that offer it that are contracted, what their capacity is in their program to fill those classrooms.
Well, we know that early childhood learning is essential for not only those children, but for our community as a whole, and how we end up at the end of when all the test scores and everything else comes back, it all starts with the early learning. So
Absolutely.
I commend you guys for doing that and working with the different schools and that kind of thing. But so do you feel like that all these children in Putnam County who want VPK can get it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes, for sure.
Or the
For school
parents.
readiness, I will say, we do have a wait list right now, and we are working through the wait list. So school readiness, you might have more families that are in need, and that's the financial assistance. And again, that's birth through 13. So it's not just those getting ready and preparing for school, but those are also in school that may need the after-school care as well.
Yeah, yeah, very important. All right, very good. Are there any other questions for the presenter? Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for what you're doing. We appreciate it.
Have a great day. Thank you.
All right, with that, again, we are not making decisions today on funding. That's something that will happen during our budget time, but we're going to take a quick recess and then go into the planning and development. Yeah, I have to do public comment. All right, we will reconvene our meeting. Going into the planning and development public hearing, we'll hear presentation first, and then we will be taking public comments since it's a public hearing.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Michael Graves, Planning and Development Services. This is the second meeting for case REZ 26000004. As a reminder, the applicant, Julian C. Wood Revocable Living Trust, is requesting a zoning map amendment from plan unit development to residential estate on 22.5 acres located at 229 East River Road and 131 Oak Haven Lane and an adjoining unassigned location in East Palatka to allow for the development of a single-family residence. Surrounding zonings include plan unit development and residential estate. The subject site has a future land use designation of urban reserve, and the lands have approximately 1,079 feet of frontage on East River Road, and according to the National Wetlands Layer and the FEMA Flood Zone Layer on the GIS reference map, the lands do appear to contain wetlands and is located in FEMA Flood Zone X, X500, and AE. FEMA Flood Zone AE is a special flood hazard area. Should the applicant's request be approved, the applicant will then be eligible for obtaining all building permits and site work permits compatible with the RE zoning district. Here you can see the aerial overview of the property outlined in purple. Here you can see the future land use category, the zoning. Staff has recommended approval of the request to amend the zoning map from plan unit development to residential estate. Staff finds that the proposed rezoning is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the adopted comprehensive plan and meets the locational requirements of the residential estate RE zoning district provided in the Land Development Code and Comprehensive Plan. At the May 13th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting, the Putnam County Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the subject request. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions for the presenter? All right, this is our second reading. Is there anyone in the public who would like to make comment? Please come forward. All right, one more time. Is there any public comment on this item? All right, seeing none, it comes back to the board.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move approval of ordinance number 2026-011, amending ordinance number 25-12, an ordinance of the County of Putnam, State of Florida, amending the official zoning map for Putnam County incorporated into Article 2 of the Putnam County Land Development Code Ordinance 2025-12, rezoning 22.5 plus or minus acres from Plan Unit Development PUD to Residential Estates RE, providing for civility, effective date case number REZ 26000004, Julian C. Wood Revocable Living Trust.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Moving into public hearing item. Ordinance amending section 29 of the Putnam County Code. Who is taking this presentation on?
That would be me, Madam Chair.
Okay,
I have some folks in the audience that wanted to speak on behalf of this.
okay,
Should we allow them to speak first?
absolutely.
Okay. All right. Those of you that are interested in speaking in favor or against the ordinance regarding the Dunn's Creek No Wake Zone, I ask you to come forward, please.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hey, Sam Carr.
Sam Carr, 108 Riverside Drive, Satsuma, Florida. I'm in right there on the river, right near the Dunn's Creek area where this no wake zone is proposed. I suggested this probably 12 years ago after attending a function at the Dunn's Creek State Park where we had paddlers, we had pontoon boat tours. We had a whole lot of people there at this junction where the thing is, and there was also a bass tournament that weekend, and the bass boats were in a big hurry to get to Lake Crescent, and so we had several instances where just the speed of the boats created safety issues for those of us that were participating on the river in other ways. And so that was the first warning that I had that something needed to be done at that particular corner of Dunn's Creek because it's so narrow. It's the most narrow part of Dunn's Creek. A whole 9 miles of it. This is the most narrow part, and it's a greater than 90-degree turn there. So and there's also a sandbar right in the middle of that. So at low tide, it's an issue, and you know, I checked it out and worked with the Dunn's Creek State Park to think about that at the time, and I was told that it was hopeless. So I'm really proud of Joshua for taking this on and bringing it to the public safety issue that it actually is. I don't think it'll be in imposition to anyone traveling on Dunn's Creek, but we'll all feel a lot safer. Also, as Dunn's Creek State Park gets developed, one of the very next things that will happen is that we will provide dockage for the public to Dunn's Creek State Park. Currently, you can't park your boat on Dunn's Creek State Park, which is ludicrous. And it has been ludicrous for as long as it's been a Dunn's Creek State Park. And so the actual dockage that they will be putting in there eventually as part of the management plan for Dunn's Creek State Park will be included in this no wake area as well. So it's a safety issue. It's one that is necessary. Somebody's going to get killed there one day if we continue to allow 50-mile-an-hour boats coming past that particular park. Okay, that's my point.
Sam, I got a question for you. How many events is there a year at this facility on the water? How many events?
Joy Mitchell's not here with us. She's the leader of all that good stuff. But it's almost monthly that we have camping and or trail projects out there on the river.
But I mean, as far as the kayakers, you mentioned the kayakers and the safetiness on the water. How many of those, are those all part of those events?
Usually, yes.
Okay.
Yes. When we have the major events out there, usually there is kayaking involved with it. Back when I was involved, we were doing exclusive kayak trips out there and all. But we don't have, that isn't being done right now.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Harvey, do you have a question? Or are you
I'll
waiting
wait
for
till
later?
after the
Okay.
comments. Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, thank you. Thank you, Sam.
Rob Matson, 121 Palm Trail, East Palatka, Florida. Earlier this year, Commissioner Alexander appointed me to a seat on the Waterways and Trails Commission, but I'm not here representing per se the committee. But I support the adoption of this no-wake ordinance. I've been out to the kayak launch at Dunn's Creek State Park. It is an ADA-compliant kayak launch, one of the few that I'm aware of. And as Sam said, it is a public safety issue. So this no-wake zone sort of bracketing that paddlecraft launch will be a huge contributor to public safety.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good morning. Larry Flamin, 204 Perry Street in Pomona Park. I've been a member of the Friends of Dunn's Creek State Park for several years. Today I'm here as a member of the Board of Directors for Friends. Anyone familiar with the park knows the dangers of the hairpin turn of the creek and as it moves through the park. Boaters frequently travel through the area at 40 to 50 miles an hour. This poses a potential danger to oncoming vessels and creates waves that erode the park banks on the creek and creates hazardous situation on the floating dock and handicapped kayak launch located there. Dunn's Creek State Park is managed by the Department of Environmental Protection, Division of Recreation and Parks. A unit management plan on February 15, 2019, the Acquisition and Restoration Council recommended approval of the plan. The Division of State Lands under Office of Environmental Services approved the plan. They recommend that as visitation increases in the park, a no-wake zone be established. The park will work with FWC and locate local authorities to investigate the feasibility of setting up a no-wake zone in the park, that area. An ADA compliant park and dock and kayak launch have since been installed. This is very susceptible to wake from the boaters. The Friends are excuse me, the Friends are received approval for at least 10 years now to conduct various paddleboard events in the area. The park is open to the public 365 days a year, and wave action by boaters adversely meets the stability of the dock and the kayak launch for handicapped personnel, people. And also people that are viewing the beauty of that area. Thanks to the efforts of Commissioner Alexander, renewed interest from the public and boaters alike are endorsing a no-wake zone in this area of the park. Please endorse the ordinance. Any questions? Thank you all.
Who's up next? That's what
Mary
we love about
Garcia,
you, Mary.
200 Perry Street, Pomona Park, Florida.
Short and
I'm
sweet.
a District 4 representative for the Waterways and Trails and have been on the dock at Dunn Street State Park as boaters come flying through. And I have to tell you, it is very dangerous because it's a nice, beautiful curve on it. And so people are not watching from one side to the other side as they coming together, and you see almost crashes all the time. I've been there. So, I mean, you just have to be careful, and I appreciate the time to speak. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Commissioner Alexander, you're welcome to make your presentation. Do you want to speak before then?
No,
Okay.
I'll wait.
Last for mine.
Click in here. Yeah, just did. Got that one. Okay. Good deal. Can you hear me okay, Madam Chair?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Want to make sure on this one.
Yeah.
Josh Alexander, County Commissioner, for the record. Today we want to talk about the ordinance that's been proposed for Dunn's Creek State Park. As most of you guys know, I spend probably 10 to 15 hours a week as an average on the river. I've traversed this waterway since I was probably 12 years old, maybe even before that. Back then we knew it as the goat farm,
That's
because
right.
there were a ton of goats that were lived over there and were farmed, and that facility has transitioned now to Dunn's Creek State Park. I consider Dunn's Creek State Park one of our greatest underutilized resources in Putnam County, and we have a continued growth in Putnam County as far as housing and development, and we're going to continue to see traffic along that waterway. I've seen many close calls there myself, may have been involved in one or two of those myself. And the goal overall is to prevent any accidents from happening. We can wait and be reactive, or we can make a move now and be proactive to protect our citizens. Typically, I say our greatest resource in Putnam County are our waterways, but truly our greatest resource are our citizens, and it's our duty to protect them. I did some research when I was looking at this. As most of you guys know, I'm not a kayaker, I'm not a paddleboarder. That requires way too much energy for me. If it doesn't have a motor on it, I don't want to be on it. So it's not strictly to benefit the kayakers, it's to protect the community. And I took a stance and interviewed those in the powerboat community as well. And the resounding response that I've gotten from the interviews that I've done is there is a recognized danger there from the guys in the bass boat, the performance boat community. And their greatest concern was whether or not this would lead to additional no-wake zones being haphazardly placed wherever it was convenient to administration at that time, because we're not going to be here forever. And after giving that some thought, in my involvement with Dunn's Creek State Park, I recognized that That is the only ADA compliant kayak launch in Putnam County. So when Rich and I were, Mr. Commando and I were drafting this ordinance, we wanted it to be specific to reference that kayak launch, and that wanted to be one of the driving factors in this ordinance, so that it was done in correlation with that. And you can't just put a no-wake zone anywhere you want to without some other driving factor. So that was my goal. What have we done here? If you take a look at the photos that are scrolling through, you can see both sides of that turn right off the dock. A boat running through there at 50, 60 miles an hour encounters a kayak on the backside of that, it's not going to be good for anybody. Or if they encounter another powerboat or try to take a defensive maneuver, they're going to end up in the shore. Here's your ADA compliant kayak launch. As you can see, there's nowhere to tie a boat up, and that's by design. This dock was not designed for mooring. That is part of the plan that will be coming, and that is going to further exacerbate this problem once the new dock is installed as we move forward with the management plan. Another view down the ramp to the ADA launch. I think that's about all I've got on there. But
Can you tell me the distance on that one, if you go back to that one photo of basically where the end of, from shore to shore, during, right in the turn, how much would you, how wide would you say that is?
I have the GPS coordinates. I don't remember the exact length and footage, but we tried to minimize the impact on the boat traffic there. So basically they'll come off of a plane and they can round the corner and get back once they have a clear sight, path of sight.
But I mean, is it 100 feet? Is it 300 feet? I mean, I don't want to guess, but I have an idea in my head. But
Yeah, I think it's probably 250 feet, 300 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
we
right.
tried to keep it as small as we could, not to impede traffic through the.
But the proposal is from shore to shore, correct?
Shore to shore, but limited in duration.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Commissioner Harvey, are you wanting to ask questions?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Alexander, for this. I'm going to act like we're in the legislature for this
Go
good
ahead.
bill.
For this
I'm going to be
beautiful
up on
bill.
this bill today.
One big, beautiful
And I
bill.
encourage my colleagues to be up on this. But the question I have for you today
Yes, sir.
is, I think you've already answered it. You know, the unintended consequences and sometimes what the public perceives. This is only designed for this one area on Dunn's Creek, right there at the Dunn's Creek State Park. And it's only designed there because of the handicap launch. So nothing else, no other lakes, no other parts of the river, no other navigational will be affected, only this area by this ordinance. Is that correct?
Correct. That is exactly how we crafted it.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Alexander, and I'm up on this bill today.
I'm up on this bill today.
All right.
All right. Commissioner Pelletier, you're recognized.
I'm not the mariner that Commissioner Alexander is, but I probably was there before he was.
You may have been there before the goats.
Birthdays. But anyhow, I definitely see that this is a safety factor, and we certainly should move forward and support this. And if you're looking for a motion, I can give it to you now.
No, we're still in, we're having getting questions.
Well, I'd like to reserve that right.
Absolutely. Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
I really do appreciate Commissioner Alexander's passion for this project. You know, it's kind of a testament to, you know, we're not commissioners that sit in our own districts. You know, he travels the waterways from one end to the other. And I appreciate his passion for the project. You know, this may open a little bit of a can of worms. We will have ADA compliant launches in other parts of the county in the future. So, you know, I do feel it's a worthwhile can of worms to open. This is a dangerous corner. It's narrow. It is extremely steep. It's in a remote location. If somebody gets hurt there, it's not like they're right out in front of, you know, the bridge in Palatka. You know, it's going to be a time getting to them. So I feel like it's a worthy can to open, and I appreciate you championing the project. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I think this has a second reading, does it not? Yeah. I didn't realize that when I
It's
got
okay.
the cart in front of the horse. But
Somebody's going to are you making a motion that goes to the second
yes,
reading?
ma'am. Let's move forward with this to a second reading, absolutely.
All right, and we're in discussion. So I have some questions.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
point of clarification. The next meeting would be, do you want the next meeting on the 28th at 9 o'clock? Because that's going to be specific to the motion.
That's the question. Do we have to state the date and time of the next meeting? Yes.
Give that to us.
So
At
what's
the next
date?
available Board of County Commissioner meeting? Pardon me?
No, August 11th,
Okay.
to meet the requirements, okay.
Is that what your motion says?
Well, it will, I didn't know if there was more discussion or not.
I'm going to have discussion, yeah.
But go ahead.
All right, so questions, did this go to the Parks and Recs Committee?
No, ma'am, it has not. I didn't know that was a requirement.
I'm not saying it's required, it's a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's fine. How many kayak accidents has there been?
None that I'm aware of.
There's not been any.
Yeah.
How many boat versus boat accidents have there been?
None that I'm aware of yet.
You're right, there hasn't been any. So I have there's only been single boat accidents. So I have some concerns I always have concerns when we're putting on restrictions, right? When we're creating something and adding more restrictions. And I hope that if there's a concern by the boaters, that they come up with the motor boaters, they would come to the next meeting and let us hear their concerns. Because while you can say you've sat there and spoke to people, and I believe you, I would like to hear from that community as well. I have a concern that, are we impeding our bass tournaments? I mean, we work really, really hard to not do that, to make sure that when they come, I mean, they're a huge economic driver. And it's not that I'm against it, but maybe there's a way to work around where we're not having competing things happening, right? I mean, we've talked about that on other, and is there an area that we could just simply rope off and say this area is for the kayakers? I mean, I don't know. I have concerns about those things.
Oh, yeah, those are all valid questions, Madam Chair. And as usual, I expect you to question everything. That's what you do, and I respect you for that.
Thank you.
And again, addressing the bass tournaments, the majority of the bass tournaments that take place, whether they have an idle zone from the boat ramp to the actual body of water, typically they're going to be less of a duration than this is. I can't think of many bass tournaments that aren't encumbered by some type of no-wake zone. Here in Putnam County, we don't have that.
That's fair.
Other than this one area. With the recent activities regarding some boating-related accidents, it further emphasized and drove home the point that we needed to consider this. I personally been on the river and seen multiple fatalities. And if I can do something that would prevent that, and if it's cost somebody 5 minutes, I'm going to fight for that.
Yeah, I get that, and I'm only asking questions that I feel like our citizens really need to hear. And Rich, does this go into Florida Statute 327.46? Is that what this is? Is this or would these changes be in compliance with Statute 327.46?
Let me pull it up.
Because I don't believe the county has an unlimited authority to regulate vessel speeds on the river. So my other question would be, does this require a coordinated approval by the Florida Wildlife, by FWC?
Yes, ma'am. The conversation I had with FWC said that we had to approve the ordinance first and bring that to them.
So that would go, so after it went through our process, it would go through their
Yeah,
process?
because my first step was going to FWC to see if that was under their purview, but it was not. They said it has to be a county ordinance first, and then that would be brought to them.
Yeah, and we are making a permanent change, right? So this goes on their books, and which, yeah, I know another commissioner can change it later on down the road, but we're making something that's implementable 24/7. It's not like it goes oh, we're only going to do this when the kayakers are having an event. What this ordinance does, which is why I'm a little hesitant, is it's forever. So whether a kayak boat's out there or not, they have to slow down in this area of the river, right?
Yep.
And so what happens whenever the next kayak group comes along and they put another ADA compliant launch? Then does this set precedents and everywhere along the St. Johns River? I mean, you mentioned it, you thought of this already. Everywhere they set a ADA compliance up, are they going to come back and say, well, we expected, because you've already done it once, we expect you to do it again?
Definitely a valid question.
Now, I think what the biggest...
Definitely, but my thing is, with that being said, if you do have a handicap ADA compliant boat launch and you have someone that is handicapped, is that not a good idea to enhance their safety by putting that there?
How many, when you frequently go down to the sandbar?
Everywhere.
All right, how many no-wake zones do you go through?
0.
Okay.
There are
When you go
0.
down to Silver Glen, how many do you go through?
There's one into the Glen. There's one at Salt Springs.
Okay.
And everything from Astor south at the mouth of the river there for about 10 miles is, I think it's 10 miles, maybe 4 miles, is no wake.
Right.
And we don't want that, and that's why we tied it into.
Now, what I will say is a very valid argument is the hairpin turn that's right there. That is to me, I mean, I can almost get there. I went out there just yesterday and looked at it, and it is a good turn when you're coming around on a boat. But the width of that river right there is also pretty wide. And I often think about, like, when you're in the Ocklawaha River, there's areas that are much narrower and there's a lot of hairpin turns when you're going through the Ocklawaha River, and there's no wake zones in those.
Oh, yeah.
So I was using that as a comparison, trying to figure out, like, that area is pretty dangerous too.
It is, but that's a different vessel. You have different drafts in Ocklawaha. Some places are only, a foot and a half, 2 feet. So it doesn't allow the passage of large vessels that we're referring to here. Sometimes during the Toys for Tots runs, for instance, you have 40-footers that are capable of running in excess of 100 miles an hour traveling down that stretch of Dunn's Creek. Not saying they go that fast through there, but the capability exists. And those boats are typically a 12-foot beam. So that does create some issues there. And when we're talking about a boat and the performance of the boat and the steering, a boat doesn't steer like a car. So if you strike a wave, you have the potential for it to dart one way or the other. It's not like you're running a smooth curve in a Corvette. It's a completely different animal. And if there's an additional weight that's driven there while you're passing through and you have 2 passing boats,
I mean, you certainly can get bigger vessels in that area. I get your point. Mr. Commando, we're asking you about 327.46. Particularly, there are sections in there that talk about 2C if it's less than 75 feet in width, and then there's some width requirements. So
Right, so looking at 327.46, subsection 1B1A, it appears to fit that criteria. If it's approved by this commission, then it's submitted to the commission and they will review it to determine whether or not there is competent substantial evidence to protect the public.
Okay.
So within, I think it's 30 days after we submit the ordinance application to them, or the request to them, then they will ask us for additional evidence to support the request, and then within 90 days, they'll make a determination.
Yeah, and so that's where I was having the concern that there's been no history of boating accidents. Not saying we shouldn't be proactive, I'm not saying that. No, but there has been no history of boating accident. There's been no evidence of boating accident reports. We don't have a vessel traffic count. There hasn't been a navigational study. So could they come back and say I don't know what evidence are we going to give them that says that this is going to be necessary?
That I don't know.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts?
Well,
I guess you just want to go down the road and see where it leads us?
you can look at a light socket too and know that you don't stick your fingers in there because it's going to kill you.
True.
So that's my stance on that. But potentially I could see us looking at other no-wake zones in other districts that may resemble this, and we could reference those potentially. But look, I would hope that the FWC and governing body would recognize the need here based on the proposed expansion, the ADA ramp, and the visibility issues.
Yeah, the turn is really the,
Yes.
I think you have more weight if you're going to, in the turn more than you do.
Yeah.
And maybe even the flow of the river, I don't know, but it's a pretty.
Right.
I mean, it pushes
Swift.
through right there, swift right there. I mean, I just wanted to bring these things out publicly and have this discussion, because again, I'm not trying to beat you up, but these are legitimate questions that I think that the public needs to understand and that we need to get answered. And, but good job in your presentation. I don't have any issues with that. I just trying to truly understand the need, and, you know, do we really want to go down this road?
No, I get it. And, you know, at the end of the day, you and I both agree. We do not like additional restrictions placed on us
Right,
by
that's
government. I think that is
another-
a consensus across this board.
Mm-hmm.
But we all have our strong suits, and we all recognize different needs within our community. Me personally, it's not a matter of if, it's when, especially if we continue to see growth there. With the additional dockage, the additional usage, and the additional growth of our population. So if, again, like I said before, I would rather be proactive on this than reactive.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Harvey, you recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, thank you for the comments, and Madam Chair, I think you bring up some good points. Started off, none of us really want to see more restrictions or who's going to enforce those restrictions. But I will say, I think after today, when it hits the Palatka Daily News tomorrow and hits Facebook, we'll find out who's for and against that, right?
Very quickly.
We'll know really quickly on that. And we'll know the misunderstandings that are out there, and we'll be able to head that off. I would like to say, I think we could do a lot with sign, and I don't know if we have any say-so once it leaves this chamber and goes to Tallahassee. But maybe no wake zone due to handicap launch for kayaks. I mean, if I saw that, it doesn't take another sign to tell me to slow down. I would automatically want to slow down some. I also want to say this is other parts of the river. You're probably not going to have this same situation due to the width of the river. So you probably wouldn't have a kayak launching down in Georgetown, you know, off of soft launch that would be affected by this type of a hairpin curve. Mm-hmm. So I think when we look at that, you know, what does it open the door for others? Everything we do opens the door for other things. But I think a relatively cautious board would understand location is everything. And I think if we can build a sign that says, this is why we're doing this, for handicap launches, please slow down. And Commissioner Alexander, one thing that really struck me, and I saw you get emotional, 5 minutes will save a life, maybe. Maybe we haven't had any issues. But if you weren't on the river on July 4th and you didn't see the amount of boat traffic that was out there, it's tremendous. And thank God that people are using our natural resources. But what's 5 more minutes to slow down just a little bit to save your life or somebody else's life? We do it on our roads all the time. If we can do it on this area to protect the handicap, and I would hate to see somebody who's handicapped trying to enjoy natural resources and they're swamped by a boat going by there. Come on, that just doesn't make common sense. So I understand all the concerns, and we'll know that. But again, this is a first reading. We'll know more by August 11th at the second one, who's in the audience, who's contacted us, and what the concerns are. So this is just, in my opinion, sending it up, seeing what goes and what comes back as the final product. So thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Commissioner Pelletier, you recognized.
Madam Chair, I appreciate your due diligence and research there on what's in the code book there in Tallahassee. I do appreciate that. I do realize the value of the bass tournaments and how much they bring to us, and we advertise, and that's one of our selling points here in Putnam County. Commissioner Harvey, you make very valid points also. about the ADA, and I honestly think that once the ADA accessibility of this ramp is probably going to enhance the amount of usage there. And you make a great point about signage, and maybe this, will be something that could be done. I'm not about restricting anybody any more than absolutely have to, but it's a safety issue to me. That's just straight out and out. It's a safety issue, because when somebody is severely hurt or paralyzed or possibly killed, that's off the chain, and that's unacceptable. So, like I said, and that is a hairpin curve. I've been on it before. I know exactly what you're talking about. I still think it has very valid point of why we should pursue this further, and it could be a signage issue that maybe that takes care of it. But somebody's life is just not worth the risk. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. So you made a motion? Or are you making a motion, or what are we doing here?
Already had.
We had a motion and a second. Is there any other comments? And we're clear on our motion?
Madam Chair, I think the motion does need to come back to say August 11th, 2026, at a time that the presenter or the motioneer made it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That works. Yep.
All right.
Second.
I think
9 o'clock, 9 a.m.
All right. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor of moving it to the next reading, say aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. All right, public comment on agenda items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It is not reasonable to expect that the board will engage in debate or deliberation about matters on which the board has received no prior information as part of the agenda. Please limit your time to 3 minutes. Public comment cards are conveniently placed at the meeting room entrance and should be submitted prior to the meeting to the deputy clerk who sits to the right of the podium. Madam Clerk, do we have any blue cards on consent agenda items or new business? New business? Okay. That, I'm going to put that under miscellaneous since we've already had that presentation. Any other items? Okay, we will have an opportunity for miscellaneous items. All right, going into consent agenda, is there any commissioners wishing to pull anything from the consent? Starting with Commissioner Harvey.
Madam Chair, I have none.
Commissioner Alexander.
Madam Chair, I have none.
Commissioner Newbold.
Nothing.
Commissioner Palacier.
I have none.
And I have none.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the consent agenda items A, B, C, D, and E.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Going into new business, Public Works, acceptance of multiple right-of-way deeds, resolution 2026-051.
The first one on your agenda is for receiving multiple right-of-ways during lot splits. We try to do this anytime we get a lot split if the right-of-way on that road is not uniform. So we're just trying to make the right-of-way uniform in case we need to do any future improvements. Common practice for what we do.
So these are particular to the ones we've already received applications for and received their lot splits?
Right, and so if we don't have a uniform right-of-way, then for that particular lot, when they do a lot split, we request for them to deed us the right-of-way.
So this is a cleanup.
Yeah, it's really just cleanup for the right-of-way.
All right. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thank you for doing that. That's, future boards down the road are going to really be appreciative of this.
Yep.
So I want you to know I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you, Marie Chase. She does a
Yeah.
great job.
Yeah,
Marie Chase.
I know, your staff, I'll
Yep.
just say, thank you.
All right, any other comments? All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair, I move approval of resolution 2026-051.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign. Did you say aye, Commissioner?
I did.
You did?
Said aye,
I'm sorry, I
yes.
didn't hear you. Okay. Motion carries. Public Works, Milliken Road drainage easements.
These are for the North Putnam Drainage Project that's currently taking place. We needed 6 different drainage easements. These are just the first of the 6 that are coming before you so that we can put in the cross culverts, as Commissioner Wilkinson knows, so that we can prevent the flooding of Milliken Road and get that water to flow correctly to Mason Branch instead of sheet flowing across Milliken.
Right. right? So I just want to make sure everybody is aware that this project has been something that's the county's been working on for 3 years.
At least 3.
Actually, it might have been one of the last appropriations we had received through Bobby Payne's office. So it's been
Correct.
4 years since we've actually had the appropriation on the books. But there's a multiple things that are happening out in that area on Palmetto Bluff, on Milliken Road, and this is part of that project that is being overseen by a engineering firm.
Correct.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't mean to be hogging the microphone, but this has been going on since I got here, and talking about the flooding out there. Just want to congratulate you and your staff of getting these easements, and there's more to come.
Yes.
So do you see any other problems of getting all this water eventually to the river where it's trying to go?
No, the easements are giving us 200 feet onto the property to clear that out as basically an outfall coming from the cross culvert to prevent the sheet flooding that's been occurring on Milliken, because we're reestablishing the swales on both sides of the road as well, so that we can funnel it to the cross culverts, get it there. The landowners that have come in and talked to us have been very appreciative. Mr. Williams was in last week. He's tired of seeing his pines underwater. He knows that this is going to help prevent that and get the water to Mason Branch sooner. So,
Well, this has been a long time coming, and a lot of commissioners have worked on this, and legislators, as you just heard of, and just glad that, we're moving this forward as a board and getting this cleaned up. And thanks to Commissioner Wilkinson for keeping the eye on the ball on these things, and your staff too. So I appreciate that very much. So thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the presenter, or comments or concerns? All right, is there a motion on the floor?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve resolution number 2026-052.
Second.
All right, we have a motion second. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Thank you.
thank you.
Going into public comment on miscellaneous items. I've already read this paragraph. I'm not reading it again. Thank you, ma'am.
Sounds like a teacher, right?
I know.
Get a motto.
Right. Ms. Reyes, your subject matter is SMA Meridian.
Yvette Reyes, P.O. Box 253, Boswick. Thank you. I just have some comments. Some of you know, some of you don't know that I am the self-appointed homeless community liaison for the county.
Advocacy, is that what it is? Advocacy, advocate?
Yeah, /advocate. Sheriff Deloach has graciously allowed me to go in the jail when one of the homeless people get arrested for me to provide them the services that we have in the county. SMA and Meridian have been instrumental in helping me to get them from the jail into their program and into housing. With SMA, it's a little bit different because of their restrictions, so they can't take everybody. With Meridian, it's open. The only block that I have with Meridian is a TB test, which I'm trying to work with the health department to get that resolved. Sorry, it might take a little bit more than.
You're fine.
So what I want to ask the commissioners for SMA, if they're running in the red, why isn't St. Johns County also providing? We, Putnam County citizens, are providing a lot of money and a lot of resource to SMA. They're bringing in inmates from St. Johns County, and St. Johns County is not providing a dime to any of it. So as a constituent, I have a problem with that. Even though I work with them, I have a problem with that, because if they had 5 people from St. Johns County, those 5 people would get the exact same service that Putnam County people are getting, but they're not contributing to the care, to the programs, to the services. That's SMA. Meridian. Meridian, I do transportation to Gainesville. I transport when there's no other transport available.
On your own dime?
On my own dime. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, I'm self-funded. So with Meridian, it's a little bit easier. I can take them to CSU, or I can take them to the Bridge House if they have a bed. They service a lot of counties. So getting people from Putnam County there and in a bed and in the program, sometimes it's a challenge. They have graciously, I have a direct communication with them. We have a new peer specialist here that is amazing because he was part of the homeless community here in Putnam County, and he got hired by Meridian, and he's doing an amazing job. With Meridian, I would like to see maybe funding increase to level out SMA and Meridian to cover additional services. And maybe one of the buildings that you guys talk about all the time that are surplus, maybe offering a building to Meridian like we do for SMA, so that we can have a crisis unit here, so that we can have beds here, and we don't have to travel to Gainesville. And we can make that process easier for all of us. Those are my comments.
Okay, so I will say on the SMA, I think from my understanding, when we did that grand opening, was that the reason they take people from St. John's had to do with a grant. I don't know when that grant ends, if it was a requirement in that grant. I do get your point, and I don't disagree with you. But I do believe that my understanding had to, so we got to get clarity on that, because I think you've touched on something that's very important to the citizens in Putnam, which is if we're paying for everything, why is it not only just Putnam County people? So I don't disagree with you on that, but we can get some clarity on that concern.
Okay.
Are there any
Thank you.
questions?
Was that St. John's or Volusia you mentioned?
St. John's.
Okay.
They're going to the jail in St. John's.
Yeah, for the recidivism program, but I think it had to do with a grant. But we can find out on that and get more clarity.
Okay,
And
thank you.
and on transportation, I mean, I would like to see I appreciate what you're doing, but we shouldn't have to have private citizens transporting. We shouldn't. We should figure that out. So I don't know what that looks like. I mean, we've got ride solutions we spend money with. We got a sheriff's office. We've got, I'd like to figure that out. I don't know what that is, but I don't know how to get that's not a low-hanging fruit with an easy answer, but it doesn't mean we can't have further discussion on that topic. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ben Smith.
Thank you for the opportunity to get here. I'd like to take, my name is Ben Smith. My address is 105 Hires Road, Georgetown, Florida, 32139.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Newbold, thank you very much for participating in the 4th of July event we had in Palatka. The citizens love to see you out and do whatever, to get your name out there and let them know that you're accessible. Let me get to where I started. Another thing I wanted to say. The squeaky wheel must get the oil. I'm glad to see that Public Works Milligan Road drainage easement is moving forward and doing some things, and that's where my concerns are today. But it is not Milligan Road, it is Hires Road, 309. Let's see here. I'm here to follow up on the last month's meeting about drainage along 309, County Road 309 between Koloski Road and Lunker Lodge Road, specifically the termination of the 48-inch box culvert on the west side of County Road 309. The property that intersects the culvert has recently been surveyed and shows no drainage easements across the area, and that at this point is the only way for that water to get to the river. And it's been blocked now because the gentleman who's bought the property rightfully has blocked that water from going through his property. There was no easement for it to go through there to begin with. So now, in the event we have some more water, and we have reached just about saturation level now in our area. The ponds are beginning to fill up. I think it's only a matter of days, if not a week or so, before we start seeing water come underneath at that 48-inch box culvert and create some severe problems. I heard someone mention the sheet water flow across the roads. That exists when the water gets to the point where it is coming under that 48-inch culvert. It's sheet water across Hires Road, and it's seeking its level. Let me get back on track with where I'm at. At the last meeting, Mr. Grimes had stated that he would look into it, and that is, are plans available? We also had some questions about elevations, and right after the last meeting aired, one of the neighbors went right on when he found out County Road 309 was actually First Estate Road. He went online and found 2 or 3 places where he could get information on the state road plans that were submitted to the county, and they probably do exist. So, you know, I'm just wanting to find out if we have any more information about the plans, because I was told that they do not exist. When I first asked for copies of them, they sent me copies of a road that was designed or the plans were designed in 1968, and it's not the existing road that exists now. It didn't show the elevations that are there, and that did come from Public Works, but they did not appear. Apparently, is that my time has expired? Yeah. Well, I had much more to go on, but I do want to just see if we can find out some answers to the questions from the last meeting. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. All right, moving forward, Jessica Finch. If you'll state your name and address for the record.
Good morning, Chair and Commission. My name is Jessica Finch. My address is 235 Marine Center Drive, and that's in Marineland, Florida. And I am coming here today on behalf of the St. John's Riverkeeper. And I wanted just to discuss some issues about data centers. So I've been following some of the local comments on Facebook and seeing some of the back and forth. And the St. John's Riverkeeper has been involved recently in discussions and advocacy related to proposed data center development. And it is the core mission of the St. John's Riverkeeper to defend the St. John's River, which is one of our greatest attributes in this county, other than, of course, our residents. We want to advocate for its protection, ensure the river's water and tributaries remain drinkable, swimmable, and fishable for everyone, both now and in the future. The St. John's Riverkeeper is highly concerned about data centers in the St. John's River watershed. We have the whole 310-mile area that we are concerned with, and that is not just the 310-mile river, but there's additional thousands and thousands of acreage that surrounds the river that is part of our district. It is well documented that data centers place significant burdens on water resources, energy, and local ecosystems. One specific item that we're concerned about is water consumption. Data centers use servers operating 24/7 to perform analytics and run complex algorithms that are now used in almost every internet search, business function, cloud storage, and key public infrastructure. The continual running of these servers generates intense heat and requires the use of millions of gallons of water via cooling towers and liquid cooling systems. While evaporative cooling systems are more efficient than air conditioning, most of the water use is consumed during the evaporative process, which means it doesn't return to the groundwater. We know that we've been under a drought here recently, extended drought. Thankfully, we've had some relief from that, but we know the effects of the drought. A single large data center can consume up to 5 million gallons of water per day. This is equivalent to the same daily use of 15,000 homes. In warm states like Florida, cooling demand becomes even greater because the outside air contributes to machine heat. You can know that if you could stand out beside your air conditioning and you can feel the hot air coming from outside of the AC unit. I've got a whole page, a whole document of the St. John's Riverkeeper's position on this. I'd like to share it with you all via email because I know I only have 3 minutes, but I just wanted to go over some of the key points. I don't have enough time to go over everything. While the use of the closed-loop system cooling systems or direct-to-chip liquids cooling systems require a much smaller amount of water, they can significantly increase electricity demand. Energy consumption, environmental impacts, noise pollution, and stormwater and flood hazards are also concerns. Also, lack of transparency. So I'll close this with, we believe that communities deserve the opportunity to fully evaluate the potential impacts of data centers on water use, wastewater discharge, energy demand, wetlands, wildlife habitat, resilience, and long-term community planning before development decisions are made. This requires complete transparency between governmental authorities, permitting agencies, and the public. Creating a moratorium will allow you, the commissioners, a chance to be in the driver's seat, determining the path forward rather than have it directed to you. Thank you so much.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Are you getting paid to be here?
Am I getting paid? I get paid as a consultant for the St. Johns Riverkeeper. So whatever I do in regards to St. Johns Riverkeeper work, I do get paid for.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It doesn't adversely, or, I mean, you get paid to be there, I get paid to be here. So I'm on one side, and my concern is the river.
I understand.
As it
I
should
just
be
think
every
it's-
one of you's concern up there.
I just think it's a fair question.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I do want to say, I do think that's a fair question. When you go to Tallahassee and you fill out the speaker form, you have to put down whether you're a paid lobbyist or not, you know, and I think it's fair to note that, so thank you.
Mr. Michael Woodward, excuse me, Michael. Please state your name and address for the record.
Michael Woodward, 517 South Francis Street, Interlochen, Florida, and I am not being paid to be here.
Thank you, sir. And you're a resident of Putnam County?
For about 50-some years now.
Yes, sir.
The only serious objection I've heard so far to adopting a one-year moratorium on data centers, something a number of other Florida counties have already done or are in the process of doing, is that it might run afoul of last year's Senate Bill 180's prohibition on adopting more restrictive or burdensome land use regulations. By the way, I apologize for the roughness of my voice. I had a really bad respiratory illness back in May, and haven't quite gotten over the damage yet.
Yes, sir.
But this year's Senate Bill 484 specifically gives local governments the authority to regulate data centers and tells them to use that authority. SB 484 says that because of the, quote, unique planning, infrastructure, and compatibility considerations, end quote, that data centers present, quote, the legislature intends that such considerations shall be addressed, end quote, by local governments adopting comprehensive planning and land development regulations. Even if these two laws were being read as somehow in conflict with one another, then the most recent and specific one will trump the older and more general one. Even if SB 80 had limited your authority to adopt regulations or a moratorium, SB 484 has given that authority back to you as far as data centers are concerned. But you know, all of this analysis may not really be necessary because by its own terms, SB 180's limitations are not now currently in force. Not here, not anywhere in Florida. SB 180, codified as section 252.422 of the Florida statutes, reads in part as follows. Quote, for 1 year after a hurricane makes landfall, an impacted local government may not propose or adopt, end quote, then it goes into the list of the various categories of prohibited regulations. Moreover, to be considered an impacted local government that could be subject to SB 180's limitations under the right circumstances, a county would also have to be within 100 miles of the hurricane's track and be listed as a federal disaster in a federal disaster declaration. So remember, has to be within 1 year of a hurricane, and it has to be a county that's in a federal disaster declaration because it was in 100 miles of the hurricane's track. You know, a few days ago, I found myself trying to remember the names of some of the hurricanes we had last year, but my aging memory failed me. But what I had forgotten was not the names of the hurricanes. What I'd forgotten was the fact that we hadn't had any. It turns out that in all of 2025, not one hurricane made landfall anywhere in Florida. Tropical storms don't count, neither do hurricanes that throw us some weather on their way past going up to North Carolina. A landfall means when the center of the eye of the hurricane actually makes contact with our shore. The last hurricane to do that, the last hurricane to make a landfall in Florida was Milton, which on the 9th of October of 2024 made landfall on Siesta Key near Sarasota. That was 21 months ago. So because at this point no hurricane has made landfall in Florida for well over a year, SB 180's limitations on land use regulation are not now in force anywhere in this state. And they cannot come into force anywhere in this state until we get another hurricane somewhere. And even then, it will be only for the counties that meet the other criteria of being affected counties, being within the 100 miles, being part of a disaster declaration. So back to data centers. Right now, Putnam County has no regulations that come close to adequately addressing the unique impacts of data centers, including but not limited to the enormous demands that they place on electrical and water resources. A 1-year moratorium at this time would ensure that Putnam County's residents and businesses are protected from data centers' impacts until such time as we have developed and put in place adequate permanent regulations. If the board has questions for me, I will gladly try to address them.
I don't think so at this time.
Thank you,
I don't
Madam
see
Chair.
anybody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
commissioners.
All right, Yvette Reyes, you're back up for another subject matter. I'm going to give you 2 bites at the apple today.
Yvette Reyes, P.O. Box 253 Bostwick. This is my animal control hat. I haven't been up here in a while for animal control, but I do have some points that I need to bring up. We have certified animal control officers now, and this is not against the team, because y'all know I love the team and I would never say anything bad about them. But we have animal control officers that are certified now. We have a statute, Title 46, 828, Spot 27, Local Animal Control or Cruelty Ordinances Penalty, that allows animal control officers who are certified to go on private property and issue citations. We have a huge problem, especially in Interlochen, sorry, Larry, with stray animals and people who are not being responsible. Why is it that our ACOs who are now certified not allowed to proceed with the citation issues? It's $500, right, for a citation. We go out there 3-4 times, leave a notice, and nothing gets done. And we're just going on the wheel around and around. I know in the past we didn't have certified ACOs, but now we do. We spent a lot of money on it. What I've been doing is, for the complaints that are on Facebook, I've been requesting the public information. So I have the data. And going to the same place 3 times, leaving a notice within, 3 months, is just a waste of resources and time for everybody. So is that something that the county is looking into doing? I know ordinances are getting rewritten, but the statute says that they can do it now. For 12 years, I've been listening to ordinances are getting rewritten, ordinances are getting rewritten. Finally, we're getting there. I know JR is working on it with the Animal Welfare League, but we have the statute that we can use to protect the county employee. So that's just my concern with animal control. And I have it all written here. Okay. I didn't want to read it, but yeah. It's 828 spot 27, subsection 1, 2, and 4. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments? Any other public comments? Come on forward.
Hello, my name's Ethan Bradley. I am a resident of Putnam County. I've lived here all my life. So, good morning, commissioners. Thank you for having me here.
Can you just give your address real
Yes,
quick?
110 Carlos Court, Palatka, Florida, 32177.
Thank you.
So, I am also not paid to be here, and I'm also here to speak about data centers. So, a single hyperscale data center pulls as much electricity as a city of 150,000 people around the clock. Grid operators are already warning of multi-gigawatt shortfalls within 2 years. Florida ratepayers have watched their bills climb 42 to 82% since 2020 across Duke, TECO, and FPL. The legislature did pass a law this year requiring data centers to cover their own infrastructure costs instead of billing that to the rest of us, but it hasn't been tested anywhere yet, and we don't know how these increased in electricity demands will increase our bills. And Putnam County shouldn't be the ones testing them. There's also a real risk for brownout. For me, where I live, I have it happen all the time. Anytime it rains or anything like that, even when it's hot, sometimes the power goes out. You know, and this is the kind of things that we are putting ourselves at risk for if we allow these data centers to come into our community. And then there's the other issue that has been brought up several times about the water issue. And even some of the things that use these, what they call closed loop systems, still require a consumptive use permit during their financing process because they need this. Because they need, even a genuine closed-loop reclaimed water system needs a groundwater hookup as backup for when treatment plants goes down for maintenance or summer demand outstrips what reclaimed water can cover. State district decides if it's feasible, and statutes never define feasibility. That's a loophole. That's a big loophole, and that could be used against us as well. Data center expansion should be one of the last decisions we make, not one of the first. Before we hand our grid capacity, our aquifer, and our tax base, we need to answer a more basic question. What do we actually want AI to be used for? The technology runs on. So, and yeah, that's what I'm here to talk about. I'm sorry, I've never talked before in front of anybody. I just got a little bit nervous.
You're doing fine.
So,
Just take a
yeah.
deep breath. You're doing
Yes.
fine. You're doing fine.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So that's really what I'm here to talk about. And one of my big concerns, again, is that consumptive use permit that's required. We've heard a lot of people talk about the closed-loop systems that seem to alleviate that. That's what's been claimed before, but it does not alleviate that. Even when they have to charge these systems, when the treatment goes down for maintenance, anytime like that, they have to consistently have access to water, so they have to have those consumptive use permits. And that's just a concern of itself. You know, these things concern, as the water keeper lady mentioned, so much water, and any time that they're just draining our aquifer, that's a danger to all of us. We've seen what's happened in places like the Villages, where they've used so much water that sinkholes have become a major issue. You know, they have whole businesses dedicated to foundation, you know, and stuff like that because of that. And that's just something Putnam County does not need. We talk about, you know, Putnam County, every time you come into here, it's Putnam County is outdoor friendly, you know, and that's what we want to keep. You know, everybody, it's good to expand. I don't have any problem with moving forward with developing, but we need to think about how we want to move forward, how we want to develop. You know, we have to stay, I think, consistent with that, you know, outdoor beautiful kind of thing. And data centers do not stay consistent with that. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, any other public comments? Come on forward. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Amani Klein. I'm P.O. Box 455, Satsuma, Florida 32189. I've lived in Putnam County since August 2000, and I'm proud to call Putnam County home. And I enjoy the outdoor recreation that we have. I hike, I camp, and I've been very blessed to see so many bald eagles, barred owls, and just see so much wildlife here. And I believe in protecting it as best as possible. And I always believe it's our civic duty to do as much as possible to research any everything that's going on. And I've been able to help people, you know, camp here, hike here, backpack here. I'm part of a group called Girls Who Hike Florida, and so Putnam County is home. And to me, data centers are just not the thing. We are outdoor recreation. We are outdoor friendly. I mean, you guys talk about the bass tournament. That brings in so many people, and to me, it's scary to think about something like that being brought here, because that would affect our wildlife, the natural resources that we call home. Every one of us here has been able to see the beauty of Putnam County. Whether we fish, whether we bike, whether we camp, or we backpack, we have so many natural beauties here. And it's just not on point for Putnam County to have something like that. It doesn't define us. It doesn't represent who we are. And so I just want you to consider, looking into a 1-year moratorium for the county so we can do more research. Thank you.
Ma'am, you say you're a resident of Putnam County, but you gave a Jacksonville address.
No, I said P.O. Box 455, Satsuma, Florida, 32189.
I'm sorry. My mistake.
Yeah.
I swore you said Jacksonville.
No,
I had bad hearing.
No, I've been here since August of 2000.
Okay.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? All right, back to the board for commissioner committee updates. Do we have any commissioner committee updates, starting with I'll start with Commissioner Harvey.
I knew you were going to do that.
I'm just starting on your end today.
I have none, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Alexander.
Yeah, I've got some updates.
Awesome.
Where's he at? Sam, please stand up.
Sam.
Yes, sir. It's not that bad. I just want to give him a show of appreciation to Sam Sullivan. We were successful in securing a BIP grant for the construction of the Duns Creek Duns Creek boat ramp. South side. We didn't have all of the information that we needed, but we did get letters of support from the sheriff, the fire department, a couple other folks, a letter of support from the commission. Thank you guys very much. So we did get a good amount of money. We have some other funds that staff and I are looking at to potentially shift over there, as well as our appropriations that are coming up. So I may be knocking on some of y'all's door a little bit, but I did want to congratulate Mr. Sullivan and thank him very much for that.
Just make sure you do it publicly.
Oh, congratulations publicly, and I'll ask you guys publicly down the road.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Commissioner Newbold.
Just one quickie update. I was volunteered to be a alternate on the canvassing board.
Yes.
There is a meeting today which Mr. Commissioner Palatka will be attending. It conflicts with our budget workshop, but rather than anyway, we had to take precedent, and I'll skip that meeting. Be here for the budget workshop. I really don't have anything else in regards to committee updates.
Yeah, and so that's their logic and accuracy test. So just so you'll know, Julianne does, and she has to go through lots of calendars. She has to get in line with municipalities. She has to get in line with school districts to make sure there's not a conflict, because we can't have public meetings on a public budget at the same time another public entity can. So she's had to clear lots of calendars. So the fact that she didn't know about this one, it wasn't anything other than she's already got to check so many other calendars. So it is unfortunate that one of you will have to go there, and it would be Commissioner Palatka, but I just want to say, for transparency, there wasn't anything other than that.
It's part of the process.
It's part of the process, and there's lots of people.
Yep, these calendars are full. Our activity calendars are full. That's part of the deal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for that. Commissioner Palatka.
As Commissioner Newbold said, I'm the primary member on that board, so I do have to attend. But I did speak to Mr. Overturf, and he said that he didn't see anything in the future that we would have conflicting schedule crashes, so to speak. However, I will be this evening calling on Mr. Suggs to give me an update of what transpired in the
You might not be our meeting might be, this meeting here could potentially be longer, so you might end up finishing coming over. I don't know.
I agree.
It could be a longer meeting.
He says we're 2.5, 3 hours this afternoon.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there's that. Okay.
So, other than that, I have nothing.
All right, I don't have anything, other than we have an Affordable Housing Advisory Committee this week. Meeting is, Julian, do you have that off the top of your head? Wednesday at 10 in this boardroom. Yes, sir.
One more thing, it's not necessarily a committee, but just, Ms. Reyes did bring up her note on the, kind of that
Yeah.
deficit in enforcement. Today, after this meeting, there's a lunch meeting with 11 community partners that will be working our first get-together on that revamp of animal enforcement activities. So, congratulations. This is I don't know.
No.
It is not, but I'll update you on, where we're going, and there will be more of that in the future.
More meetings in the future. All right, so that's it for Commissioner Committee updates. We're going into appointments, since I've started with you all day. Commissioner Harvey, you're up.
Thank you, ma'am. I have no appointments.
All right, Commissioner Alexander.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I would like to reappoint Miss Renee Huff to the Fair Authority.
All right,
I missed that at the last meeting, so I want to make sure we got that taken care of.
all right, very good. Commissioner Newbold.
I have one in process. Lisa King is in the process of returning her paperwork for the District 1 Animal Services Advisory Committee. So I hope by next meeting we'll have some progress there.
So that's not at large you're talking about, that's a district appointment? Or are you referring to an at-large position?
I believe it's my District 1.
Okay, that's the question.
You're welcome to appoint someone. We can wait for the paperwork for a while.
Okay, well, I would like to appoint her, but her paperwork is not in yet. I don't think she's official until she gets that done, unless I'm mistaken.
We'll take care of it.
Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Pelletier.
Yes, ma'am. I have one to the Zoning Board of Adjustment, Miss Rebecca Krebs.
With a C or a K?
Krebs, I believe is the way they spell it.
All right. That is a district appointment?
Yes, ma'am.
And they have to reside in your respective
The
district?
address they gave me is in my district.
All right, thank you. All right, and then I do believe I will have a Parks and Rec, an appointment. I'll have to probably bring it up the next meeting because I haven't really confirmed that yet. So I do think I will be filling my District 2 seat on Parks and Recs. It is important as we go through that we do try to fill some of these spots. A couple of the committees have not been able to do anything because they haven't had quorum. So either we want these or we don't want them. And if we want our advisory boards to continue, then we got to make sure. And I know we've just talked about it and it's not always easy, but I will put this out publicly. If you want to help out on a board, then reach out to your commissioner and let us know that you have an interest in serving on one of these boards. They're in our agenda packet. They're ongoing. So we do need, this is an opportunity for citizens of Putnam County to weigh in and give us their, these are advisory boards and they're really important to our board in making decisions. So as we move forward, please feel free to let a commissioner know if you're interested in serving on something. Clerk of Court cannot be here today, so we'll go into County Attorney Commando.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually need to ask the board to reconsider the motion that set the second public hearing on the no-wake zone. It appears that advertisement did go out, so it's already scheduled for July 28th. So if there could be a motion to reconsider just to amend the date, the time would stay the same.
So I want to make sure I understand, the advertising already says July 28th?
Yes, ma'am.
Just because that's the next available meeting?
Yes.
Gotcha, okay.
So we need to just change it to July 28th, is that correct?
Yes.
Make that motion to change the second reading to July 28th at 9 a.m.
I'll confirm the second.
I'm sorry, I thought you were the second. Did I miss that?
No.
Yeah, it is, you're the second, okay. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries as amended. All right, anything else?
Just to let you know that I'm going to miss the next meeting, but I'll be in touch in advance of the meeting with you all in case you have any legal questions. We're just going to see my wife's grandmother, who's 96 years old.
Good deal.
Good deal.
Right.
My husband had a grandmother lived to be 104.
That's a lot.
And she had over 100 Wilkinson grandbabies, I'm just saying. So Wilkinsons are well represented. County Administrator Suggs.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to defer to Deputy Administrator Grimes first. He's got a comment he needs to talk about.
Okay, thank you.
So moving forward with our fairgrounds project, when we did our original phase, when we did our original building, it came in with electrical to run the conduit and the ground mount transformer and all as a 3-phase to the building, which usually is covered by the power company if you have a demand. Well, with this building, with it being unfinished in a first phase, doesn't have a demand for return on investment for the power company. So we're going to have to upfront pay for the pad mount transformer, the conduits and all through FP&L and have it buried. And we're looking at about, I think it's going to be around a total, we got a $35,000 hard cost from FP&L for just the wire and the pad mount transformer. And we're at about $15,000 to install, trench and install the 5-inch conduit. So I need direction from the board, a wave of support to move the money, need some kind of action to bring it forward because we will not have power in the building without it.
All right, Commissioner Harvey, you're
Thank you, Madam
recognized.
Chair. So, Mr. Grimes, what I'm hearing is probably around $46,000 to $47,000 to bring this, so $50,000 would bring this thing in?
Yes, sir, we would have power, the permanent power to the building at that point for this, but
So could we fund it? We're going to need a funding source. So do we fund it out of general fund reserves or a better place plan? Because it is a long-term project. So which one would you prefer?
At this point, general fund reserves.
Okay.
All right, Commissioner Alexander, you recognized?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to ask if typically the power company, as you stated, would fund this due to their ROI. Does the option exist as the project progresses for FPL to reimburse us for some of those funds once the demand is there to give them a proper return time on their investment?
I have not heard of such, but I have also not asked the question, right? So I mean,
Sure.
I could go back and ask. I mean, this is just something that's come up that we got to move it forward one way or the other so that we can direct the contractors on the way to go.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to see if that option existed before we set something in finality that we couldn't address later. If this was a contract.
I'll ask the question before we do it. I was just trying to get it moved forward for today so we can get them moving on the rest of the project, but I can try to find out if they'll do any reimbursements.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One last question, Mr. Grimes. We've had some power issues at the fairgrounds. Is this going to be able to help in the future power situations out there?
We're working through that power issues on a separate note. Because this building's actually 3-phase power, all the rest of that single-phase power. We're working through their engineering folks to see. I'm not an electrical guy at all. Just trying to figure out if we can move any of that power from this to the existing issues at the fairgrounds. That is a question we're asking our electricians now, if they can use any of the available power from this next power pole in there for a portion of the fairgrounds.
Okay, thank you.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair, I'd move that forward, that the board approves $50,000 to up to $50,000 for the electricity at the new building at the fairgrounds coming out of general fund reserves.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. So general discussion, I know is, I appreciate the transparency, but this isn't something that Mr. Suggs could have authorized?
In most cases, yes. However, this has been a project that the board has taken over because it exceeded the appropriations. So we've had to come back to the board on multiple additional allocations for dollars to get us to the end of this first phase.
No, I'm glad it did. I just wanted to make sure I understand the process.
Under a normal circumstance, this would be under his threshold.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Was there any nays? Okay. All right. Anything else, Mr. Grimes?
That was it. Thank you, ma'am.
Administrator Suggs?
No, ma'am. I think we'll hold comment till after our workshop this afternoon. If there's anything then I'll bring it up then, but I don't think I have anything now.
Okay, so I want to bring up something, and I'm not going to wait until Commissioner comments. We have some good news. The county did receive a grant from the e-commerce for economic development. I believe it's over $2 million for water expansion along 309C for economic development. We just received that news last week. Is very, very fresh.
That is correct. It was a very quick turnaround, and we can also, again, if while we're on that subject, thank Mr. Sam Sullivan again for jumping on that. That was a last-minute opportunity that came to us, and so we're very fortunate in being able to get that process and get that approval.
So in order for us to move forward, we have to work with the city on this water expansion, which includes a master meter. And everybody involved needs to understand the benefit to both the city and the county through economic development. Not only would we potentially have a large employer and taxpayer in the county, the people that come to that facility would be frequenting restaurants and hotels and utilizing the water that the city could sell. I say that to say that in full transparency, I want this board to understand the steps that are being taken place, which is staff has met with city commissioners, staff has met with city employees, and county administrator has sent an email requesting to be placed on the next meeting for the city. And basically, I don't think I printed it out, but basically, maybe I have it in here. We basically were told their plate's full. They have a lot going on, and they're not going to be able to get us on the agenda on July 23rd. Unfortunately, the city only has one meeting a month during the summer months. They call that their summer schedule. So they have one meeting in June instead of two. They have one meeting in July instead of two. And they have one meeting in August instead of two. And therefore, that puts us in a little bit of a quandary because we need to let e-commerce know if we're moving forward with this project. We have some deadlines. I'm disappointed that the city could not get us on the agenda as we requested. I know that we have also had discussions with the possibility of having a joint meeting with them. So, Mr. Administrator Shuggs, do you want to weigh in on any of my comments so far?
Sure, Madam Chair. We have reached out. We've done the very things that you've described, and there is a request that came through from a city commissioner that we possibly hold another joint meeting, and this could be part of that discussion. The unfortunate thing is that we were under a tight timeline for moving this project forward. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, you have a lot of staff that jumps through a lot of hoops. You had Mr. Grimes, who was helping with the layout. You had Mr. Knowles and Public Works who's helping design this thing. You had Mr. Sullivan, Ms. Young, myself. All of us got this thing knocked out and turn into to the state, and we were able to get the grant. Now we're sitting in a timeline situation where we can't get an answer back to moving forward. It would be my suggestion that we try our best to get on an agenda, or just go ahead and hold a joint meeting to have this discussion. But it would also be my recommendation that we continue moving forward with the design of this project.
Yes, sir. I agree. And I just wanted this to be, obviously we can't talk about this until we have a meeting like this. And so I wanted this commission to understand where this project is and what the issues are. Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized for discussion.
Well, as you said, we can't talk about this, and this is the first that I've heard of this grant, and I want to commend our staff for working so diligently to get that done in the time frame that was allowed. Does the option exist for the city to hold a special meeting or a special session so that we can get this taken care of for our constituents?
Yeah, they do. So in full transparency, I had a conversation with one city commissioner who seemed in favor of moving forward, but I don't know that they have. I think, you know, you got a new city manager, and that new city manager is learning a lot, and I get that. And then I spoke to another city commissioner who really just felt like their plate was full right now with having a newer city manager. And then I left a message for the mayor yesterday and have not received a phone call back.
Okay. The statement, the plate is full. What exactly is required of the city to allow us to move forward with this project? Just an interlocal agreement, a wave of support, or a vote? I mean, what do we need from them to move forward?
I mean, I don't know the legality of that, but we just need to know if they're interested in moving forward at this point. I mean, we're not ready for prime time, but we do have to have the discussion publicly. And if they don't want to participate, they don't want to participate, and then we know how to deal with it. But if they do, they do, and I think it would be beneficial if they did. And that the only point that we're trying to do is get in front of the city commission to say, hey, these are the benefits of it. Mm-hmm. And if they ended up tabling it to the next meeting, they did, but we need an opportunity for discussion.
Yes, I agree, and I don't, that's why I was asking exactly what the requirements were, if they were burdensome, or was it simply just a vote to say, yeah, this sounds like a great project, let's move forward and get the money, because I can't think that anybody would want to not receive a grant money that would help us move our community forward. So I think maybe we need to paint a clearer picture of what's required, so maybe they can get on board and get it knocked out and move on. I mean, if it's a 2-minute discussion at the city commission, do y'all want to get on board? Let's do it. I don't see why we couldn't add that.
Well, we might just be all filling out blue cards come July 23rd.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to get some clarity. Thank you for your efforts.
Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Well, Madam Chair, my pen is ready, and I've already pushed the button on it, so I'm ready to go fill out that blue card. What's our time limit here? I mean, what's our deadline that we need to get back to Department of Commerce and let them know that, because I'll sit down there on July 23rd, I don't mind, but I need to know that deadline.
I can't answer that definitively because we don't have our funding agreement in place yet, but they are going to expect an answer as soon as we get that funding agreement back, because it's going to be contingent on moving that thing forward.
Well, you know, I'm going to say this, our plate's full sometimes too, but opportunities come along that we need to jump on. And I don't mean any disparaging facts against the city of Palatka.
And that's not what this intention is.
Right, but I do want to say, I mean, we all got plates that are full some days, but you make room. And especially for dessert, right? You get extra room for dessert. And this feels like dessert because this is something that's come our way. And Sam worked very hard and staff did. And we can always make room for that. So I think we should all, if we have to, be down there on July 23rd.
And I think the particular reason I brought it up was, yes, we got told no, that we couldn't get on the agenda. But secondly, the next meeting, it's not like there's another meeting at the beginning of August. It pushes us all the way to the end of August for the meeting. Now, we can decide to ask for a joint meeting, and I know Mr. Administrator Suggs has sent back an email and said, hey, we would be glad to meet with Ms. Curry, the new city manager, the mayor, myself, and him, Mr. Suggs, that we can sit down and create an agenda. Again, I know she's newer. She's just been there a couple weeks, and we have not gotten a time frame on that either. So I would be happy if we can't get some traction on or an answer on July 23rd, if we want to have the joint meeting, that it could happen before August, end of August, because that's my concern. Is we're in the middle. Are we even in the middle of August? I mean, July. So we got 45 days before we get another, and it might not be 45 on the calendar, but it's a long time before there's another meeting with the city. So them pushing it back to the end of August, to me, is very disappointing. So how would we like to move forward, board? Just, are we saying that we're just going to show up at the July 23rd meeting and see if we can get a few minutes of speaker time? Commissioner Alexander.
Well, I would like to see staff make a second attempt and maybe paint a clearer picture of the amount of time or investment that's going to be needed, and give them the opportunity to get on board with us. Because I really honestly think that they'll get on board. They may just not have understood the lift and how heavy the lift was.
Right.
When it's something as trivial as that, I can't see why they wouldn't agree to help everybody.
Right. And we did just get this information.
Sure.
So I do agree that's probably a good plan. Mr. Suggs, if you'll reach back out and say, listen, if we can't get on the July 23rd meeting, let's get a definitive time for a joint meeting and get time to have an agenda, because we really don't want to wait. My whole thing is I don't want to wait till the end of August. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, I think that's good advice right there, but I also think a letter from this board jointly, requesting us to be on the July 23rd. We've had a public meeting, we have an opportunity, and I think a letter from this board to the city of Palatka would be beneficial.
Okay, all right.
I think that's a great idea.
You think that's a great idea? All right, we'll work on that. Mr. Suggs, we're going to work on a letter, apparently, from the board. You got this?
Yes, ma'am. Who would you like to sign that letter, Madam Chair?
I guess I'll sign it. Yeah, I'll sign it.
We'll get you one drafted.
Thank you. All right. Where were we at? That was at County Administrator. Anything else, County Administrator?
No, ma'am. I think I got enough for right now, so I appreciate it, though.
You mean your plate's full?
Oh, wow. Well, according to Commissioner Harvey, I got room for dessert.
I'm so glad. Commissioner comments, starting with Commissioner Harvey.
Well, don't you always have room for dessert?
It's a great comment. I mean, I don't disagree.
All right. Well, thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to say what a great 4th of July we've had around the county. It was a wonderful opportunity to be out in Interlachen. Again, it was my second year of retirement from doing it for 40 years. I tried to get the town of Interlachen to move their July 4th to December. They wouldn't do it for the heat. But truly, it was a great time to be out there and be a part of July 4th celebration. And then move into Palatka to see the fireworks and to watch the bridge lighting. And I was extremely ecstatic about the opportunity to see that and to be part of the plunging of the whatever they call it, whatever. But we turn the lights on, and it's really going to showcase the county. I know there's people out there that are upset about funding and the unknowns, and surely that's always been a concern. But you buy a new car sometimes, and you don't know what the cost of it, but you don't know the continued cost sometimes. So we'll get to that. And but right now, it's lighting up our community. The bridge lights are. And a lot of kudos go to our Madam Chairwoman who kept moving this ball forward, Commissioner Alexander who kept going with this, our previous board, the three of us, Commissioner Wilkinson, myself, and Commissioner Adamczak that actually voted to move this forward. So I understand, and I understood the other two that didn't want to, the concerns that they have, but truly, that night, people were in awe of that lighting. And my mother-in-law and I and my wife were out the other night, believe it or not, 9:30 at night. I know, from over there at the left-hand side of the podium, they're amazed at that. But we actually stopped and looked at the lights, and my 93-year-old mother-in-law said, "Isn't this a prime example of what Putnam County should be showcasing?"
Yes.
And I said, yes. Here's a lady who was born in the orange groves of Manville, who saw her father was actually the paymaster for telegraph poles. So imagine what she's seen in her life, and now she sees red, white, and blue on the bridge, and she thought it was phenomenal. So I just want to share that with you, and I want to share kudos to everybody, including John Browning, who kept moving this forward. And again, I said this not too long ago. You go to Tallahassee with John Browning, and doors open up that you didn't even think there was a door there. And they ask you, what do you need? And they're there to help you. And John brings back a lot for Putnam County, so a lot of kudos to John and just really for our staff. And then we'll see, going forward, we'll see the cost. We'll make decisions based on that. But you can't imagine that LED lights are going to cost that much money. Just don't see that happening. We'll see savings, and we're going to see tourists coming back to Putnam County more and more over that. So I just wanted to thank you for that, all the board, and let them know how much I appreciate everybody's help on that. And then Madam Chair got me involved in the Bread of Life the other day, because their steers and their hogs The ones that were donated came back from the processor last week. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'll take 12 cases of these home and cook them, not realizing how much 12 cases of pork butt and shoulders and knuckles, how much work that was. So we cooked all day Sunday, all night Sunday night, and delivered a good product to them for meals on yesterday at Bread of Life. And I will tell you, you know, I've been involved with Bread of Life, hit and miss there, you know, back and forth. But truly to walk into that facility yesterday with meat that was prepared for dinner that day and see the blessing and the people that are sitting outside waiting to be fed, does your heart well.
Yeah.
It really does your heart well.
Yeah.
And to see what a shoestring budget they run on and the amount of people they feed, does your heart well. So I would encourage you, anybody that watches, anybody that finds a need to want to feed homeless people or people that are just in need, go down there to Bread of Life and volunteer, and they would love to have you down there, and they'll put you to work. Because I saw a bunch of people yesterday. I even saw 2 students from the local school that are needing scholarship hours for volunteers, and I thought, how moving is that? That'll never leave them as they go in through life, that they help feed somebody one day. So, Madam Chair, thank you. Those are my comments, and I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Harvey, and thank you for that. I can't imagine how much meat that was, but it was a lot. And it'll last for a long time, and so thank you for doing that. Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I really appreciate that. You know, first off, a lot of people think that, you know, there's some kind of ulterior motive and you guys are up there doing this and doing that. But since I've come on the commission, I've watched the passion that these commissioners have for our community. You don't get paid for it. You don't get paid to go out there to Bread of Life. You don't get paid to put 24 hours into cooking meals, Larry. Walt, you don't get paid to go over there and park cars and collect it. JR, the stuff that you do with the schools, those are above and beyond what we've been, tasked to do, and it's for a passion for this county, and I appreciate that. And I want to thank you guys for that. That's pretty special, because a lot of times people don't understand what goes on behind the scenes. I get a call the other night from Misty Blevins at Corky Bell. She's like, "Well, what's going on with the water? We got no water." I called J.R. Grimes. He's out there till 10 or 11 at night working on it. And then we go and look at a site yesterday about 6 o'clock. I said, "Man, you headed to the house. Michelle got dinner ready for you?" "Oh, no, I've got to go out to the radio station in Tower in Bostwick. We've got issues out there." So there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. And, sometimes it does a heart good to bring that to the public's awareness, just to know what's actually going on behind the scenes and what you don't see. With that being said, that's my uplifting thing for the day. There's a lot goes on that people aren't aware of. The lights on the bridge, that was a fantastic scene for Putnam County. It highlights our downtown area. It makes it more vibrant. When you're out there on that water, it just changes the whole landscape. So I think it's going to enhance our downtown. It's going to dramatically increase business and provide a venue for later events that will look great for our community. So John Browning was instrumental in that. Commissioner Wilkinson, thank you again. Mr. Harvey, thank you. And Paul Adamczak, wherever he's at today, thank you, Paul Adamczak. Thirdly, my list of things that we accomplished last week were the new pickleball courts that were opened on Friday at Jerry Beadenbaugh Park in East Palatka. Every one of my commissioners came out there, staff came out there, and I think that is a key component of a functional commission. You come out and you support each other. You may not 100% agree with everything that we do, but you come out and support your commissioners, and I think that provides strength to our beliefs and provides a stronger Putnam County and stronger leadership. So thank you guys for coming out there. Thank our community for coming out. I think it was a fantastic celebration. Julianne, JR, Mr. Suggs, thank you guys too. staff helped put that together. It turned out phenomenally. We had some vendors, actually luxury landscaping, that they donated the landscaping around there. The barn was done locally. So the concrete was done locally. So we try to use local vendors when we can. And then there's one more thing I want to talk about. When we discuss these data centers, I get calls every day. Well, you guys are working on data centers. You guys are doing this. Your staff's doing this. Well, no, we don't have any idea about some of the things that may or may not be going on. And people assume that because we don't disclose things or say we don't know, that we've got stuff going on behind closed doors and we've signed an NDA or something like that. Number one, an NDA is not valid for a public elected official. You can do a public records request that will supersede any NDA and get the correspondence regarding that issue. So I want to put some of those fears at rest. Additionally, when we talk about these things, we may not know as commissioners individually what's going on in permitting, building and zoning with staff, and what conversations they've had without requesting that, because it's not in their purview to come and report every conversation to a commissioner. So after giving this some thought, our goal is to protect the community, but also to allow the community to have transparency and have a voice in what occurs in our community. So falling short of placing a moratorium, which may or may not be legally defensible at this point in time, I do want our community to understand what's going on and have the information at hand that has presented by those that are interested in potentially locating a data center in our community. So typically when you do a zoning or ordinance change, it takes multiple readings. But what I would like to propose today is a policy change. This would be an effort to support the perception, or to negate the perception, that there are closed-door meetings going on behind the scenes that we're taking part in. What I want to do is provide transparency. This will give our constituents transparency to actually know who's looking and courting our community, or who's been here looking around. What I would like to see, and at least get some input and feedback from you guys, is that any discussions that are had with staff or administration regarding the location of a data center in Putnam County be divulged and disseminated via an email to the county administrator, who can then share that information with us as commissioners individually to prevent violation of the Sunshine Law, but also to publish that information. So we'll know those folks that are looking at our community and trying to bring those data centers here.
Just the location.
Yes, yes. Rich and I spoke about that. Any information, location, interest, or otherwise regarding a data center that is shared with our staff or our administration be shared to the commission within 72 hours.
Okay. Commissioner Harvey, you recognized?
Thank you, Commissioner Alexander. Thank you, Madam Chair. So what I'm hearing you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, somebody from the public comes in and wants to cite a data center or even have a conversation to one of our staff members, planning and zoning, building official, staff, administrative staff, that would be reported directly to Mr. Suggs immediately, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then Mr. Suggs has a window of opportunity, whatever, 72 hours or earlier, that he would report it individually to us in writing, so the transparency would be there.
Yes, sir.
So the public could see that coming to us. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, sir. It is to prevent
I
us from
fully
being...
support that, and I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate that. I mean, we've all been briefed on the fact that, a moratorium might not be in the best interest of Putnam County, but our public is demanding something, and they're wanting something. And I think this is a good first step, because we've had, 4 people today come up here talk about data centers that are not existent in the county. And we've all said from our seat that we didn't fight this hard for natural resources to be taken away from it. We've all, now, I'm not going to put words in everybody's mouth, but this commissioner feels very strongly that I fought very hard for the water, as other ones did, to have it taken away. I'm not interested in that. And plus, what I've learned is data centers require more energy. So you just don't get a data center, you have to have a energy producer that goes along with that. There's a lot more complicated than that. So I appreciate what you're saying. I think that adds a layer of transparency, and I support that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
Can I get a little clarification from Mr. Commando in regards to his opinion on the legality or where we might be in hot water if we were to step into a moratorium? I see many counties have bitten that off.
I'd be cautious to say many. There have been a handful of counties that have, there's a small number of counties that have imposed an outright ban.
Yep.
Fairly confident that with property rights, that's illegal.
Sure.
As there are a larger, but still more than a handful of counties that have imposed moratoriums, that is something I'm working with actually all 4 counties that I represent, as far as trying to figure out the correct path forward that would allow for the imposition of a moratorium that does not violate. I appreciate Mr. Woodward's kind of thoughts on the idea, but there's, at the Florida Association of County Attorneys, we had a very strong conversation about there's a direct conflict with Senate Bill 180 and Senate Bill 484. So given that, we're trying to thread the needle as far as finding a way that doesn't create a liability situation where property owner comes to sue the county, but we want to make sure that the county is protected as well.
Okay, and I guess I shouldn't run into my comments, but
You can do it.
I
You
run
can
into
do
my
it.
comments. Okay. I do appreciate Commissioner Alexander's attempt to thread the needle, and I appreciate you trying to keep us on sound legal footing, but I would very much like us to move in that direction of I don't know that I should propose it today, but I really do want us to move towards
We
it.
we are moving in that, and what
Okay.
Commissioner Alexander just proposed is separate from
Yeah.
that issue.
Yeah,
So
I would like us to move towards that, towards a moratorium. Let me throw a couple other things in real quick. I'll get some fluff out of the way, and then I'll return to this, since I'm in comments. I was able to go to Palatka and participate in an unconventional 4th of July celebration. I mean, Palatka they are unique. I attended a 85 golf cart 4th of July parade, which was the craziest thing ever and a heck of a lot of fun. Palatka's kind of got it going on out there, so thank you guys. Our entire commission and Commissioner Suggs attended the Florida Association of Counties meeting, and in that time, there are a lot of counties that all their commissioners don't go. We've got great representation, and the things I picked up from that meeting, a lot of talk about the constitutional amendment that could possibly be affecting all of our budgets. A lot of good information learned, a lot of networking done in that space. And the other big topic of the day was that of data centers. And the one thing I learned in that space is that we don't know much. There is a lot of information out there that is, popular because it's flashy and much of which is not true. So my big takeaway was that we really do need time to get our land development code in order to appropriately protect our county and our constituents. There are already, there are over 110 data centers in Northeast Florida, and they're not all mega centers. Data centers, yes, sir.
So again, data and facts are important. I'd be very careful. So what qualifies as a data center can be the size of a 10 by 10 room that has some switches in it.
Absolutely.
And when you look at, and Erin Brockovich, famous environmentalist, has a map, and she has a map of all of the data centers in the United States. There are only 2 large-scale data centers in the state of Florida, with a third being proposed, which are down near DeSoto County. They're not near us.
Yep.
So just so we're clear, there are no large-scale data centers near us.
Absolutely. And a data center can be as small as a little room in a hospital, can be a data center. There are many data centers that are, I would not want to propose anything that would slow down economic development for standard business. I think Bay County recently enacted a moratorium that was 6 months, and anything greater than a 5 megawatt data center. And that's the direction I would like us to go. I don't want to, if our hospital needed to come up with a more robust data center, or our junior college, I don't want to keep that from happening. But I think in order to keep our community properly protected, we need to develop code properly. And I think such a moratorium would allow us to achieve that. I don't want to sit here and tell you that I am pro or against data centers, but it's prudent for us to create the space necessary.
And that's kind of the approach that Nassau County has taken, is that they're going to spend some time listening to presentations and gathering data to make an informed decision. They're not talking about changing code at this point, and I think part of the reason why they're doing that without talking to them is that it runs afoul of Senate Bill 180. So I've heard the will of the commission. I don't think there's any disagreement among the 5 of y'all, and that is the direction that we're working towards right now. The Bay County moratorium, even for 6 months, just remember, at any point in the future, if a commission decides that they have enough information, you can always rescind a moratorium. So whether you make it for 6 months or 12, it really doesn't kind of change the functionality of what your intentions are.
No, I understand, and I look at that from both ways. Our constituency would love to see a 1 or 2 or a longer moratorium, but in my mind, if you make it a shorter window, and your intent in that space is to craft your code to make you a safer place, so to speak, getting that done in a shorter time frame to me makes a little more sense. Because they can always be lengthened, they can always be shortened, but I'm going to stop short of just requesting one, knowing that you're moving us forward in that space, and that it's on my mind, and it's going to come up as soon as we can legally do it.
And so your input's valuable and important, and I've listened to all of you. And I think some of the county governments are looking at the 1-year moratorium because part of Senate Bill 44 does require the legislature through OPAGA to do some fact-finding of their own. And they're going to have a report that's due out just less than a year from now in June. So,
well, Florida is in a much better space than some other states. The recent legislation passed really puts this ball in our court, where in some other states things happen without that local, approval.
And it puts the infrastructure expansion capacity needs on the person who would propose it. So
that's a big deal.
There was a public comment that said that that's going to increase the utility bills of all the people within that system. And as a result of the current legislation, that's no longer true.
Well, in speaking with other commissioners, I found out just how far kind of we are behind in this space. I spoke to a commissioner who had traveled to Loudons County, Virginia, and visited not quite 30, almost 30 data centers, and spoken to people on the ground and spoken to county officials. And there's a lot to learn in the space. And I'd like to just capture a little time to be able to make informed decisions in the future. That's all I have.
That's all your comments?
That's all my comments.
Going back to Commissioner Alexander.
Thank you, Commissioner Newbold. You've always got a way of sitting back and being very reserved and studying the details. And again, we all bring our own unique aspects to this commission, and that's kind of the point of what I was looking at here with this policy change. A policy change we can enact today. A moratorium is going to take a couple of readings, a couple of this, a couple of that. And this is just an initial opportunity to make sure that we as a commission are informed and guarantee that we know what's going on so we can make an informed decision down the road and we're not caught off guard. That is the goal of my proposal.
Any other comments on this subject matter real quick? So I would ask, can we, I hear what you're saying, attorney, but what about a temporary moratorium? Can we do that? Can we do a temporary moratorium on a new data center application while staff has time to prepare? At this point, we don't have anything in our comp land plan. We have nothing in our land development code that gives directions. And the last thing that this commissioner wants to see is a developer coming in and giving us what they want to do in our land development code. This should be us driving the train on this. And so can we at least ask for a temporary moratorium while staff prepares or while there's more research being done for a zoning amendment and a future longer term moratorium? Or is a moratorium period legally?
A moratorium is legally a moratorium, so they're all temporary.
But it can't be a short, I mean, there isn't anything quicker that can happen?
No, you still have to go through the statute. The process is prescribed in statute as to how you put a moratorium in place. So whether it's for 1 month or 12 months, it's the same process. So we'll have to go through that process. Now, there is no classification or category within our comprehensive plan or our zoning categories that would allow for a hyperscale or large-scale data center. So even if an application was rushed in, it doesn't fit one of our categories, it would come back to you for, I would imagine, extensive public comment and consideration. And without that, you would make decisions, findings, and a vote based on what's presented to you. So nobody's rushing in to slip one in. It would still come back to you, even under the current scheme of our code.
Go ahead.
Ask a
Yes,
question?
sir.
But isn't that just part of the crux of the problem because we have nothing in our code? Those
That's exactly
applicants
where
come
I'm
to
at.
us and say, you have nothing, therefore I, by default, can do this.
So, and this is the dog chasing its tail. So, and that's the problem with Senate Bill 180, is Senate Bill 180 until June 30th of 2028, depending on whether or not we have another named storm, indicates that we are not permitted. There's moratorium language that's 1 year from the named storm. Now, that moratorium is really on reconstruction and rebuilding. I don't think it applies to this situation. But there's the next paragraph after that that talks about counties and municipalities are not allowed to change their land development code or their zoning regulations, land development comprehensive plan, which would be more burdensome or restrictive than their current code. That's the problem we run into right this second. So, and that's the conflict between Senate Bill 180 and Senate Bill 484.
So it's your opinion that because the name storm only applies to a portion of that Senate bill or to that statute?
Yes. Yeah, so it was the bill, Senate Bill 180 amended the emergency operations statute. In fact, there are a number of things in that bill that require us to have expedited permitting procedures. It requires us to have frequently asked questions on our website and things like that. So there are a number of different aspects. So when you look at, again, there's a moratorium section that deals with the named storms, but then there's also, and I would hope this wasn't intentional, but as an unintended consequence of the way the legislation was written, there's another section of it that talks about not being able to change your code, and it's not tied to the storms. It only deals with the sunset of the bill.
I would like for you to email that to us, please, this particular portion of that statute that you're referring to, because if we're going to hang our hat on that, I need to understand it.
Well, and that's where some of the concept of the moratorium is to do data collection.
Correct.
Because data collection is not code or proposed code changes, which again is part of the problem with Senate Bill 180. It says you cannot even propose changes that are more burdensome or restrictive. But I'm happy to send you that.
Well, I mean, in this case, it's non-existent. We don't
Correct.
have a code that says, or a plan or a map or, I mean, nothing in we have nothing. So I agree with Commissioner Newbold that the concern is that they're gonna come in and, like I said, I don't want them writing it. That should be on us.
It will be. There's not a scenario where they would be the ones to write it.
What is the downside of the moratorium? I mean, is there impending legal peril for us as a county?
Yeah, that's what all 67 counties and 400-plus municipalities are looking at right now.
And what is that? What's the possible, we get a suit from an applicant that would say what?
I can't predict the future. I don't know.
I'm
I mean,
sorry.
candidly, I am kind of hoping that if somebody gets sued, it's not us first. It's somebody that has financial resources to actually take on that type of litigation.
Does it qualify for sovereign immunity?
So sovereign immunity is a separate concept for planning, not implementation. So when you're talking about a moratorium, you're dealing with implementation. So there's some protection in the planning, but then that doesn't completely absolve local government from alleged liability.
Okay. So what's the plan? Besides what Commissioner Alexander brought forward, what's the next plan?
I would say the plan is to make sure that there's transparency. I think that that's separate from
It is.
any potential data gathering or code
And
change.
I think we all agree on that. Okay, we're all agreeing on that part. Okay.
And then I think the second step is moving towards moratorium that would allow for data collection.
And since you're not here at the next meeting, what does that
I'll
mean?
have it done even if I'm not here.
Okay. Did you hear that? Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
We still have the item on the table that Commissioner Alexander has brought forward.
I think we just got a wave of support, but if you want something more formal, we can do that.
I think so.
Okay. You have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move approval to Commissioner Alexander's recommendation of policy change considering data center information that passed on to the board.
Can I second that?
Yeah,
I'll second that.
I mean, it was your motion, but originally, but is that what you're, I
Well,
want
it
to make
was
sure we're
his
clear.
Yes,
presentation.
yeah.
It was his presentation.
So to be clear, any conversations regarding staff
Yes.
or administration of Putnam County
Right.
in any capacity around a data center should be referred to Mr. Suggs within 72 hours to be disseminated to the 5 sitting commissioners so that we are aware of all activities regarding data centers in Putnam County when our constituents call and ask that.
Correct.
I would also like to see those emails that were composed shared to our website so that everything is transparent and our community can see who is actively looking at data centers in our community, if they are.
Yep. That was my motion.
Thank you.
Mr. Suggs, you're recognized.
Thank you. Just for further clarification, I just want to make sure with the 72-hour window and the communique that's going to be coming to the county administrator, that communication will come via a written email to the county administrator for me to be able to forward out.
Correct.
And not be a translation of conversations that I was not privy to.
Yes, sir. And we had that discussion on Monday. Thank you for bringing that back up and clarifying it. And that way, there's no miscommunication. It comes directly from the horse's mouth, for lack of a better word, and you're sharing that information.
And I will certainly take that communique that comes into my office, and we'll certainly forward it out within the 72-hour window.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. All right, Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
I failed to mention something at my comments, and if you'll just avail me just for a moment. Kudos to Mr. Suggs for being elected to the Board of Directors of the Florida Association of County Managers at the last meeting, and I forgot to mention that. So kudos to you for being on the Board of County Managers.
Thank you, sir. And Madam Chair, if I can take
Yes,
a
go
privilege,
ahead.
I'll give one back.
You want to play pickleball?
Congratulations to our very own Commissioner Harvey as well for his appointment to the, I think, his first vice president of the Florida Association of Counties. I know that's been I believe it's been a 2-year process at this point.
It is.
And so the overwhelming support Commissioner Harvey received last year at the conference, having the privilege of sitting on the committee to oversee the vote,
and I appreciate that opportunity to do that. I can't think of anyone more deserving and as hard as working as Commissioner Harvey to represent the 5 of you and all of us up in Tallahassee on the Association of Counties. So congratulations to you as well, Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Newbold, are you done?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
All right, Commissioner Pelletier, you're recognized. I know, right? That's what happens when you're vice chair. You got to wait till the end.
That's it, that's it. Like I said, the data center thing, I think that Commissioner Alexander is spot on with that. We should be aware of it. I can't tell you how many functions that I've been to, and I get just bombarded. Is there a data center coming to here or to there or wherever? No, there's not. I don't know of anything. So I think the transparency there is a wonderful thing. Change gears back to the vote of before my time to put the lighting on the bridge. Had I been here, you would have got the 4th vote.
Thank you, sir.
Well, actually, you would have had Paul's.
Well, I understand. You get the gist.
Yes, I do.
To be clear for those that don't understand, when the state approaches you with something like this, and this happened to me during my first term, the handrail that was put on the bridge, over the bridge, I had so many negative calls. Why are they spending that money there? When the state funds something like that, they don't tell you, here's X amount of dollars, we want to see you put it on the bridge. That's where it's going.
That's right.
You don't get it. It goes to another county. And that's the same thing that happened with the bridge lighting and the handrail over the bridge. If they don't spend it here, they're going to spend it somewhere else. So I'd rather see it spent here in Putnam to enhance our bridge. And as being designated by Commissioner Alexander as the most patriotic commissioner on the board, I am very excited that it's going to stay red, white, and blue, my favorite colors. But I wanted to make you very clear on that. I always like to throw a little something good in there. And Sarah, I'm glad you stayed today to hear this. I have something from the Palatka Daily. This is one of my favorite parts of the paper to read, but just to show you how far things have come in Putnam County. In 1885, the Palatka Daily News called for attention to the problem of cows being allowed to run at large on the street, causing profanity on the part of male citizens and ladies forced to take the middle of the road on account of the sidewalks being monopolized by the cows. So we have made a lot of progress here in Putnam County. So
It calls profanity?
Yes.
Is that what you're, okay, good.
I just got to ask,
Yeah, I see it.
were you and Larry here for that?
no, I'm sorry I wasn't. Sorry I wasn't.
All right, I got to keep this going. Let's go. Come on. We
I
got
have
other
heard
meetings.
profanity on the street.
What
but
else
not
you got,
because-
Commissioner?
That's it. I just wanted to share that, but anyhow.
That was good. You deserve a clap for that.
All right, moving on. Thank you, sir. A couple things. Great job to Commissioner Alexander on the East Palatka Jerry Beanball Park. It was very fitting for that family.
Yeah.
That family's been here for generations, and Mr. Beedenbaugh was a pillar of the community. And to see it go from being a donation to what it is today, it's something that I'm proud of, and I'm proud of you for spearheading it. And I know that community is going to be better off in that area. So thank you. I believe, Mr. Grimes, you want to talk about our fire station ribbon cutting?
Yeah.
Sure. Sorry. We're gonna, the fire station, we got the state appropriation back whenever Representative Payne was there. We're gonna open July the 20th at 10 a.m., which will be next Monday. So invited all commissioners to join us for that. So it'll be at 1481 Baden-Powell Road, which is a joint project that we undertook with the Boy Scouts of America. So the station is now completed. We got one last little thing we got to address, and we'll have full clearance. So we'll be looking forward to everybody on next Monday at 10 a.m.
Thank you. And so, Laura, you'll put something out on that on social media. And then I wanted to say thank you to Commissioner Newbold, who attended a ribbon cutting ceremony or went to a new school opening down in Crescent City. So thank you for attending that on our behalf. It's a beautiful school.
It's a beautiful school. It's coming together. I had someone who was not, overly pleased with the bond, comment to me about, that school probably, fall down way ahead of time, new construction and all that jazz. I think you could drop a bomb on that place and it would stand solid. It is a well-built, well-thought-out school. It's going to be just a great asset to South Putnam.
And those schools, I think what people don't understand too is those schools have a huge safety component to them. They are hardened. They have bulletproof glass in them. Is that correct?
They do around the administration office space.
Hurricane shelters, yep.
You can't look in a window anywhere in the building. It's reflective glass. There's well thought out, safety plans, just bathrooms in many of the classrooms. It's just such a fantastic upgrade. So it's nicely done.
All right. With that, I just wanted to mention those couple things and remind everybody we have a budget workshop today at 2 o'clock in this room, and we will be discussing our budget, which is going to be interesting as we move forward in the new year with some of the restrictions and some of the new statutes that have been put in place and bills that have been put in place by the Florida legislature. So we will have that discussion at 2 o'clock today. So with that, is there anything else to come before the board? This meeting is adjourned.